Imagine being the most OP demon king in history and dying of sheer boredom. With zero rivals around, the guy turned into a massive addict for movies and pop culture. And that's where it gets crazy. He stumbles upon the perfect cliche, a clueless hero and a girl falling head over heels. Instead of packing the rookies up, he decides to step in and play director, pulling all the strings from the shadows. He's gonna force this romance to happen and level up both of their powers to a wildly cracked state. His ultimate goal? Orchestrating an epic and painful tragedy, the supreme villain scripting his own defeat just for pure entertainment. Want to see how this masterpiece of a plan actually wraps up? Then drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right into the video. It all starts over in the peaceful Dominion continent. Under the constant terror of the Demon King, this place can't catch a break. Countless heroes show up trying to take down the monster no matter what. Eventually, justice always wins and peace rules once again. Except the guy at the center of this story right now, introducing himself simply as Justice, the hero. With a fierce glare, he yells he's ending this ancient evil. Mocking him, the Demon King asks what number this new invader is. Justice warns that all this arrogance will be his downfall. Then he readies the Sword of Judgment to wipe out the darkness. Watching the scene, the Horned Boss says he's impressed by the courage. At that moment, the young MC charges forward, going all out. He shouts, "Here I come," and jumps into the attack without a second thought. The creature still finds human determination to be a fascinating thing, and decides to have a little chat about how mortals work. Grabbing the kid by the neck, he says they never change. Finally, he remembers Justice's challenger number 326. Crad explains he's been waiting for a real rival for 2,000 years. Exposing that he easily dodged the hit, he throws the hero to the ground. Now he offers a chance to run away and live like an everyday coward, or face his duty and risk it all in a final battle. Without wasting time, the Demon King tells the kid to pick his fate. New fighters kept coming, from mutants to high-tech soldiers. Over time, some really unique types of combatants showed up, but nothing else really changed around there. To this day, nobody has managed to beat Demon King Crad. Annoyed, Dominic complains that his master should have left on time. Whining, he mentions catching him reading comics instead of getting ready. Crad tries to explain the comic book reference, but the servant ignores him. Notice that the villain's biggest worry is human pop culture. Dominic yells at him to change, but Crad tells him to become king himself. Once again, the Sovereign accepts a challenge, though he seems kinda confused. Looking down at the defeated Jirio, he notes the guy lacks strength for last words. On the floor groaning, the man confesses he never wanted to be a hero. Revealing his dream of becoming a director, he scares Crad with a random scream. In tears, the warrior shares what his biggest wish was before passing. He just wanted to watch the movie Look at Me through the crack in the door. Sobbing, he claims he wouldn't be a hero if he knew he'd fade before the premiere. Shocked by the massive title, Crad realizes the kid has already kicked the bucket. Gazing at the castle, he notices he doesn't even remember the fight itself. He reflects that many faded in one hit, but something stuck in his mind. Specifically, that weird title about looking through the crack. Admitting his curiosity, he can't forget the intensity of those words. At that point, he wonders if boredom made him care about this nonsense. Calling for Dominic, he asks for a favor to pass his free time. Soon the minion returns and Crad asks about that crack in the door thing. Validating the search, the servant warns that the answer is kinda disappointing. After catching the explanation, Crad notes how fast human tech evolved. Dominic explains that movies are works made by several modern artists. Wrapping up the mystery, Crad finds out the movie premieres tomorrow. The assistant confirms and mentions that dramas and cartoons are also trending hard. Crad sighs, thinking it's a waste. Humans don't just focus on training. Our demon lord wraps up the chat, thanking him for the report, and following a brief moment of silence. This is where it gets good. Crad decides to watch the movie in person, leaving the servant in a total panic. But the king's already leaving and tells Dominic to guard the castle alone. Worried, the subordinate wonders if there's still time to stop his master. Today he bitterly regrets not holding the sovereign back. Sometime later, Dominic gets caught off guard by a weird request. Crad announced he was heading to the human world just to see a director's work. Flashing a phone, he explained how wireless earbuds are an absolute marvel. Right then, the Demon King demanded his assistant's full attention. He complained about a trash live action and turned into the biggest otaku in history. Dominic gets that boredom caused this, but finds the human hobby super weird. Now he makes up his mind that today's schedule can't be delayed for anything. Warning that they need to rush, the servant gets cut off by Crad. He flexes as the absolute being capable of wiping out the whole world. But the assistant doesn't care and just asks where he's going with this. After taking that dramatic pause, Crod straight up says he doesn't feel like going out at all, and tries to sneak away from there to dodge work. Meanwhile, the rookie Roko finished cleaning everything up around there. Dominic calls the girl, leaving the little minion super hyped. He lets her know he's heading out with the boss and asks her to watch the castle. While Roko agrees, Crad keeps grumbling and begging for help to stay behind. The girl just wishes them luck, thinking their lives are super tough. Soon the duo arrives in disguise at the Great Meridium Arena. Crad asks why they need to watch hero candidates train. Handing over the daily fight schedule, the assistant just lets him read it. The king complains about no warning, but the servant says he'd dip if he knew. Crad mutters that all these rookie heroes are always the exact same. He suggests watching just the start and then sneaking off to the movies. Dominic asks how many seconds it would take the king to wreck that whole arena. Stating he knows his power well, he brings up his 1,000-year search for a rival. Because of that, he guarantees his training is going to be built different. He promises the boss will find something that actually catches his eye. Crad stays silent for a few seconds just thinking, and finally agrees to focus on the match starting right now. The subordinate smiles and apologizes for being so harsh earlier. Then he mentions the movie tickets are already bought for after the fights, explaining there are 2 key people to keep an eye on today. Crade is blown away hearing there are 2 promising candidates around, but he decides to trust his loyal subordinate's judgment. The start is announced and the first key player pops up right there on the right. Actually, the young swordswoman's eyes are just gleaming with hype. Someone in the crowd yells for her to go all out with everything she's got. The girl shows pure determination while the crowd goes absolutely wild. Her opponent, Gunhild, scoffs at fighting some kid from Eastwood. He warns he's not holding back in front of so many witnesses. Laughing out loud, the giant stares down little Riley. Crad notes that these big guys usually get bodied in fictional stories. Before starting, a mage announces he's throwing up a protection barrier. Gunhild complains even about the mage's outfit while waiting for the green light. Quietly, Riley watches it all, predicting this is gonna end way too fast. In the stands, the duo talks about how barriers replaced wooden swords. Suddenly, the Demon King gets genuinely hyped by the movement in the arena. Riley draws her blade with cracked precision. As soon as the match kicks off, the mystic shield rises between them. Gunhild yells out as the magic wraps around his body. A girl already plans to close the tam just as expected. Dominic also realizes the ending is right around the corner, yelling that she's finished. The giant doesn't know the fight is about to end. He raises his axe for a heavy top-down strike, but his eyes go wide with sudden panic. The warrior completely freezes right in the middle of his swing. Calmly, Riley gets into stance to deliver the final blow. He gets a terrifying vision of his own body getting sliced up. Panic takes over and the guy screams in despair. Sweating bullets and panting, the brute surrenders on the spot. The ref calls the duel and declares Riley the grand winner. Totally lost, the crowd questions if the fight was rigged. With his mind blown, Crad asks who the surprising young girl is. The assistant explains her name is Riley and she's got pure talent. Dominic notes that the kid managed to hook the boss's interest real fast. He analyzes how she aimed where the barrier vanished to force the tap out. Explaining further, he says the technique uses real killing intent to fake a slash. Crad admits that, even after seeing tons of geniuses, she shows serious promise. Curious, he asks about the other unusual candidate Dominic mentioned. A new fighter steps onto the battlefield with a massive grin on his face. While Troy introduces himself all hyped, Gregory complains about Gunhild's loss. Gregory decides he's gonna assert dominance without making silly mistakes. The ref gives the go-ahead and Crad gets confused by the scene. Finding Troy's stance weird, the opponent thinks he's just prepping a basic aura. He doubts the kid expects to land such an obvious hit. Annoyed by the supposed mockery, he decides to bust out his secret move. Then he chills out, figuring dodging that attack will be a breeze. Crod explains that firing off an aura like that is rookie stuff. Scoffing, Gregory thinks the newbie is just throwing energy away. Out of nowhere, the Demon King is stunned by what he sees in the arena. Troy unleashes a massive aura that pushes relentlessly right at him. No one saw that coming. Gregory takes a direct hit and can't understand how it caught him. Stating he never underestimated or disrespected his opponent, the young guy stands tall. The ref declares Troy the winner after the total destruction of the barriers. Shocked by the power, the crowd goes wild, and Crod demands to know who the kid is. Dominic introduces Troy, the hero who defines what true effort looks like. Letting out a mocking laugh, Crod leaves his assistant super confused. The king explains that wasn't effort but a genuine technique. He reveals the kid simply broke the standard formula of the strike and turned that mistake into his own highly lethal weapon. Crad sees their potential to become rivals on his level in the future. Satisfied, he figures the effort to come all the way here was worth it. Suddenly, off to the side catches his eye and takes him by surprise. Poking the boss, Dominic points out the fight is over and asks what he's staring at. From afar, the two are spotted in the stands, keeping an eye on everything below. Down there, Troy tries to strike up a chat with Riley, who stares at him completely confused. All hyped up, the boy goes for a high five, but the girl just gets startled. Then, Troy grabs her hand, making the girl turn bright red from embarrassment. Seeing this play out, Crad also blushes, since he wasn't expecting this romantic vibe. Overwhelmed, he even gets a nosebleed and quickly calls for his assistant. With no rivals for 1,000 years, human culture became his only escape from boredom. Grinning wide, he asks about the two, but Dominic says they're just friends. Experienced in ancient fiction, Crad laughs at hearing they're just friends. As a sucker for pure romance, the king feels the situation is way different. He breaks it down as the perfect cliché, the shy girl and the innocent guy. The narrator concludes that first-class actors have finally shown up for him. Getting hyped, Crad declares that a masterpiece is about to be born right now. Out of options, the kid begs Crad to listen to him just this once. Crad doesn't even care, just happily hums while spacing out. Losing his cool completely, the guy lashes out. Crad rests his hand right on the kid's head. After sweating buckets, Dominic finally hears that thank you he desperately needed. Dominic freezes instantly, feeling that heavy hand, going stiff with a glazed look. Ignoring this partnership, Crad goes crazy, asking what the real deal is behind that cheap talk. Crad lets out a mocking laugh, roasting the MC for the clueless question he just dropped. Now the plan is to turn Troy and Riley into those rivals who run on sparks and forbidden romance. Things pop off in a frantic sword duel that makes your heart pound out of your chest. To take advantage of the situation, he's gonna fake a retreat and dip from the seam. Reaching the end of the line, the two enjoy their happy ending with the kids, living that dream life everyone wants. Super proud of his crazy idea, the guy throws out a, "Come on, am I not a genius?" He holds back his rage, trying way too hard to swallow his pride and keep quiet. With no way to stop him, they just gotta pray this doesn't end in tragedy. Suspicious, the dude wonders how these talents just pop up out of nowhere overnight. With his eyes burning with focus, the guy finally realizes his suspicions about the kid were real. The vibe gets heavy instantly and Crad goes into shock, having no clue where to run. Sweating cold, the kid lets out a scream, trying to figure out how there was absolutely nobody around. Eyes locked on him, the girl drops the question if that guy's really his partner. Intrigued, he asks if the rookie is close with Mr. Kuro. You can't be the Demon King acting like a nobody. You gotta have that presence that commands respect. With a crazy glare, he straight up says he's taking out one of the poor guy's legs right there. Not even thinking twice, she swings down and smacks the kid right on the head. Furious, the guy mockingly asks if they shouldn't just put up a sign at the entrance warning about the demon's presence. Flashing a glare that cuts through anyone, she flat out asks what he came to do there without warning. Before dipping, he drops one last line because he just figured out something really weird. Using her boss voice, she dumps the responsibility in his lap and orders the guy to take control of the mess. Without a single word, he stares down his target with an intimidating look that gives away everything he's thinking. Totally lost in all that nonsense, the kid gets real and demands she just spit it out. She thinks it over and realizes this whole mess must have everything to do with that call. Completely clueless about the situation, the kid gets mad and asks what she's even doing there. He scowls and freezes up, feeling the vibe get crazy tense. Flashing that mocking smirk, he makes it obvious he has zero patience for this fake hero talk. Out of nowhere, she hugs the MC and Crad, making them both jump. Breaking the tense vibe, she keeps it real and says she's craving some sweets right now. Throwing a sly look at the kid, she gives this cynical little smirk, making it obvious there's an ulterior motive. The invite drops so randomly that both of them are lost, trying to figure out why the rush. Glitching out completely, the kid can't understand this weird punishment they cooked up for him. With nowhere to run, the guy feels super uncomfortable with his clueless personal space invasion. Gulping hard, the kid meets that sinister glare, feeling his heart pounding out of his chest. Trying to figure out the girl's deal, he asks point blank who this stranger is. Realizing the rookie is clueless, he drops the truth about who taught them both how to fight. Her name is Blee and, believe it or not, she used to be a badass hero back in the day. Shaking with fear, the MC finally remembers that's the girl. It only clicks when the final clash makes everything around them shake. At the end of the day, any scratch they took there, the kid healed with a snap of his fingers. Blood starts dripping down his face, and honestly, the tension gets way too heavy. Completely wrecked, the warrior drops to his knees, feeling his life slowly fading away. Losing his mind, the guy admits he completely lost control seeing the girl in that awful state, covered in blood down to his soul. Except, blinded by hate, his only wish was for her to come back and settle the score. The realization hits him instantly, and he just stands there, frozen, unable to process the massive bomb he just uncovered. Even grasping the whole truth, the kid doesn't get why he froze and cost them everything. Regret hits hard, and the guy gets all messed up in his head, wondering what his future holds from here on out. Mentally thanking for this new chance, he realizes this is where it gets good. Just him trying to digest all that mess in his own head. Analyzing his own choices, he notices any move he makes has massive weight and there's no room for mistakes. 3 years went by and the guy spent all this time in complete isolation. Suddenly, Crad shows up all hyped, shouting out Troy and Riley for earning their new titles. Giving a quick thanks, they immediately ask who on earth those strangers are. Telling everyone to drop the gifts, he calls for a straight talk, no beating around the bush. Right off the bat, he asks what their deal is, unable to fathom why anyone would be nice enough to give such a pricey gift. Seeing the guy pushing himself too hard, she insists on getting him a drink to help him chill. All of a sudden, a bossy voice makes the guy freeze on the spot. Wasting no time, she ruins the mood, asking what he's doing there and wanting to know what his deal is. Head bowed, he apologizes and begs Bleed to help him out today. With pure mockery, she asks if he knows how badly he's messing up and glares at him like he's nothing, his head pounding with pain. The guy starts wondering why on earth he decided to come to this human world, but the guy prefers to just stop thinking to see if the pain fades away. The vibe gets heavy instantly and he gets puzzled, trying to figure out what a smart demon is doing around here. Trying to handle the situation, the opponent gets shocked, unable to believe the guy's fury. Sneaking up from behind, the attack caught the kid completely off guard. The hit lands heavy. Dead tired, the kid collapses on the ground, feeling the weight of all that drama. Flexing hard, she drops the truth, saying she doesn't waste time with random nobodies. Flashing that creepy look, she smiles and asks if anyone else wants to play. Eyes wide, the kid realizes right then that things just got way more serious than he thought. The house where Troy, Riley, and Blee are chilling. As soon as Hythra showed up, the vibe of the place shifted entirely. Releasing such a heavy aura, she leaves everyone frozen in place. Grinning from ear to ear, the guy shows off this bizarre joy that gives you chills. For about 10 minutes now, these guys have been staring each other down, killing the mood. The vibe is so unbearable that the MC can't even swallow his food. Feeling a tightness in her chest, it's like she's being dragged to the bottom of the ocean with no air. Watching this family drama gives you a heavy feeling that makes it hard to breathe. Clearing his throat with that classic cough, he gets ready to speak his mind. Everyone's faces show they aren't believing what they just saw, just pure shock. Denying it instantly, the kid flat out refuses to accept that what he heard is real. With a mocking little smirk, he asks if the kid's look doesn't need a serious upgrade. Heart pounding, the MC starts panicking and asks what's wrong with how he looks. Letting out a sarcastic giggle, she drops the truth. It's time for a glow-up to match his new rank. Completely lost and confused, the girl wonders if she heard that right. Even if the first impression feels messy, the guy stands his ground, saying he doesn't need to change a thing. Listing off a few changes, she leaves the kid frozen, with zero reaction. Looking completely disgusted, the figure blurts out that they can't stand this boring stuff anymore. Desperate, he throws his hands up asking for a timeout and begs her to stop this madness. Flashing a mocking smile, the dude tosses the cash up and tells her to keep the change. Jumping up, the guy turns his back and blurts out he's coming right back to fix his look. Super hyped, the guy straight up says he'll even shave his beard to look like a heartthrob. Hammering away in his head, he wonders if this separation plan will actually work out or just flop hard. Tuned into what's happening, the guy starts suspecting if this overpowered being is trying to play him. Giving a death stare, he cuts the chatter and demands to know the reason for this sudden visit. Keeping his villain pose, he glares at the kid and tells him to spit it out already. Already red with anger, the dude can't stand listening to all this stalling and mystery anymore. Holding up 2 fingers, he warns the kid better talk fast, or he's leaving with all his bones broken. Raising a finger in victory, the kid celebrates that his first plan worked perfectly. Mind blown by what's going down, he stands paralyzed, unable to process that this is real. The alarm goes off instantly, calling the whole hero squad to pull up to Sector GP7. Scared to death by the warning, the girl dips at light speed right behind her master. Sensing something fishy, she starts questioning if Troy is actually telling the truth. Eyes wide open, the guy freezes on the spot, realizing he's totally busted. When she glances at the table, she notices the ring was just sitting there out in the open, and that's where it gets crazy. The rabbit hole goes way deeper, and the situation is about to get so much worse. Wasting no time, the girl throws shade, roasting the subordinate for being way too slow. Feeling a creepy pressure, the kid wonders if that's a real slash or just in his head, asking for a hand with the basket. He doesn't even care about the ridiculous weight he's carrying. Completely lost, the kid freezes up entirely and just processes the shock of it all. Troy checks if the ring dropped, but notices the thing is exactly where it was. Dropping a blunt no. He swears that looking after Riley is already too much work to care about anything else. He realizes right away that the guy had a massive level up and evolved like crazy. Not even letting the topic drag on, she cuts the chat right there and dips. Without a second thought, Dominic just says okay, getting ready to hit the road. Asking for a breather, he says he needs to keep it real one last time before dropping the subject. Blocking the path, she lays down the law for anyone trying to get close. Totally in shock, the guy blurts out, "What do you mean?" and demands to know what she meant by that. Hearing that answer, she just lets out a sigh like she's not buying a single word of what she just heard. Dead on her feet, she lets out a deep sigh, trying to catch whatever breath she has left. Taking a really deep breath, he gets ready, focusing entirely on what's going down right now. Eyes blazing, she shuts everyone down and draws a line that nobody crosses. Panting, the kid can't even process the level of evil that just went down. Feeling the weight of the threat, the kid realizes instantly that the danger is dead serious. Surrounded by that heavy energy, he asks the real question: who would be dumb enough to buy that story without asking questions? Out of patience, she tells the guy to get out of there right now. As soon as he dips, the vibe chills out completely, proving the straight talk actually worked. Exhaustion hits so hard she only thought about how she messed up by not asking Troy for a sweet. Crushed by the pain, he can barely speak, letting out that he feels his time has come. Catching on to the situation, the master gets super bummed, realizing the kid lives completely in his own world. Dominic finally realized he had underestimated that veteran's hidden strength. Ignoring the crying entirely, the guy cuts the drama and demands answers about the target ASAP. With zero patience left, he keeps his cool and mentally curses the guy out like 10 times. Totally lost, the guy explains he woke up out of nowhere in the woods and just wants to know how to leave and get back to the kingdom. Suddenly, a creepy monster spawns in the scene, demanding the guy hands over the precious item. The beast acts crazy, letting out a sarcastic laugh and threatening to leave the guy full of holes. With a super shaky voice, the guy lets out a desperate scream, calling for Demon Tento. Even flat on the ground and losing his breath, the kid desperately begs for his boss's help. The boss actually thinks it over, missing a better prey, but complains that the target is just another guy. Riley wastes no time and lets Command know exactly who he's going up against. A yellow flash shines bright, and he drops a dry "oh," keeping it completely cold. But the focus stays the same. He dives right in to wrap this up and dominate the area. Meanwhile, the beast lets out a weird yell and claims that it's actually a woman. Fully on edge, the girl faces the danger staring right at her. With a precise move, she summons this thing made of dark ink. The weapons clash so hard that sparks fly everywhere. Those bizarre tentacles attack, leaving the boss with absolutely no clue what's going on. Faced with all that madness, the monster widens its yellow eyes, not understanding a single thing that was happening. With her usual mockery, she hits him with an "is that it?" and gets shocked by how easily the dude blocked her attack. Putting her blade forward, she charges the opponent, demanding an explanation for all this clowning around. Eyes shining with determination, she locks onto the enemy and doesn't lose focus for a second. Flashing a smirk, she taunts the guy and mentions he's actually not that bad. Keeping an eye on Riley's progress, the guy decides to level up the fight and apply some pressure. Putting his hands on his face with a blazing stare, he challenges Riley to prove he isn't all talk. With that weird glow in its yellow eyes, the beast cracks a smile that gives you chills. Focusing on him with a creepy intensity, she states the truth. From there on out, his journey was just beginning. The horizon opens up into an endless view where the sky and the green blend into an otherworldly sight. A massive explosion echoes and makes everything shake from the impact of the hit. Mocking the situation, the boss lets out a little laugh and asks why he's running, just to taunt the guy. Gripping the sword hilt tightly, she gets in stance for the final showdown. Shadow tentacles rush him with full force, but the kid doesn't even flinch and halts his ground. Letting out this dramatic yell, he fakes being in terrible pain just to confuse his opponent. Riley throws some basic mockery, just to see if he gets a reaction from the dude standing there. The monster decides to stop stalling and charges in to see if it can finish the job for good. In a quick spin, he sends a shadow blade slicing through the air straight toward the target. The ink realm fully awakens and unleashes a dark energy that that swallows everything around it. The beast lets out a sarcastic laugh, completely clowning the way he fights. Super heavy drops of darkness start leaking, covering everything like living shadows. That red dot starts pulsing and the vibe gets so tense he could cut it with a knife. With mockery in his voice, the guy admits he wasn't even paying that much attention to the fight. In just 3 years, the girl leveled up so hard it left everyone's jaw on the floor. Then he asks Dominic point blank, wanting to know if he's as hyped as he looks. The pressure hits so hard the kid freezes up completely and can't even think straight. His brain just glitches out trying to process what just happened. The guy was so zoned out he didn't even notice he swapped places. Since he confirmed he's in zone 6, he decides the chatting ends right here and now. In a flash, she dodges the strike and escapes the guy's grip. Pissed about being ignored, he keeps it real, complaining that she only has eyes for that bracelet. Dominic gets hypnotized by the accessory and feels everything spinning around him for a second. Letting out a mocking laugh, he wants to understand how such a badass guy appeared out of nowhere. Flashing a mocking smirk, the monster drops the fatal question if the kid actually thinks he's a hero. With pure cruelty, the beast makes sure to detail how every single one of those heroes kicked the bucket. Without making a single sound, the girl steps into the scene looking dead serious. The monster cuts the talk right there, already sick of all this nonsense. Scowling instantly, the kid gives it straight. He better watch his mouth if he doesn't want trouble. Paying no mind to the warning, he downs his drink super calmly, like nothing's even happening. Totally lost, the beast drops a "what the heck is this?" refusing to believe what it's seeing. Keeping it real, he claims the other guy is all talk and won't stop stalling for a second. Laughing mockingly, he points out how the guy got completely stuck trying to get out of that mess. Eyes shining with confidence, he confidently states that the victory is already in the bag. Facing the beast head-on, he drops the challenge, "Unleash max power right now, no holding back." The creature freezes up, looking like it can't believe what it just heard, even choking up in shock. The boss bursts into laughter like a complete psycho. Letting out a dismissive laugh, the monster admits it got completely played by the girl. The enemy admits he messed up big time by underestimating that move. Trapped in the skill, the girl realizes instantly she became the main target of this whole thing. The beast starts making fun of its own tentacles, laughing at everyone, and mocking their intelligence. No one saw that coming. The monster freezes in this bizarre silence, paying the price for its own arrogance. He tells the poor guy to stay still just to get turned into Swiss cheese while taking a bunch of hits. In a super mocking tone, the villain says he'll grant his darling's wish without a second thought. Hyping up the opponent, the creature speaks up and unleashes all that dark power at once. The monster launches an attack, flexing hard, and rains down deadly strikes on the guy. Come on, that kind of attitude just doesn't fit Riley at all. Finding the whole thing weird, he asks Dominic what he thinks about this mess. Because honestly, this battle plan makes 0 sense. After all, that whole mess is way too tacky for his taste, as he prefers something much more elegant. The beast charges in full force, throwing strikes loaded with dark energy. Riley doesn't even care about the monster's level and completely ignores that fake strategy. With surgical cuts completely lost, the guy tries to find some logic for all of that in his own head. Dropping a quiet comment, he admits the plan was pretty basic but actually worked in practice. The trap was so well thought out that the clown lost his swagger instantly. In reality, she was just saving her true power so she wouldn't show her hand right away. Realizing he walked into a trap, the opponent completely loses his mind. Keeping his posture, he takes control back and proves he's running the show here. And just like that, everything changed. With a precise strike, the fight hits a whole new level. The dude is shaking with rage and drops a curse, unable to believe what just went down. Scowling, he channels all his strength. In a swift move, she tears through the air, charging forward with everything. In the end, Tento's confidence wasn't just empty talk. The guy was actually right. Tento goes defensive and buffs his claws, crushing those rocks like they were paper. The girl uses the open brawl to figure out Riley's style and analyze his every move. Right after that, she unleashes a combo, slicing those tentacles without mercy. Now he knows she doesn't have the strength to slice through those tentacles, but the monster had no idea the tables had just turned. With the surgical move, she goes all out against the boss. Enraged, the monster screams a nasty insult right at the girl. In the middle of all the chaos, the beast freezes up, trying to figure out her next move. Taking advantage of the close distance, she preps the final strike using whatever's left of the tentacles. The creature gets super confused, even doubting its own sanity after seeing the girl just refuse to drop. Realizing things are about to go south, the monster notices the finishing blow is coming in hot. With nowhere to look, the beast gets completely lost trying to guess where the real real hit will land. Panic sets in, making the creature freeze completely. It clicks instantly, and he finally realizes what the master play is. A creepy energy blast takes over everything, proving he just hit his max power level. Finishing the duel on the spot, Riley keeps it real. Mission accomplished. No time wasted with nonsense. He just stands there waiting for the cleanup crew to arrive. Twisting around, the monster lets out a scream so painful you can feel it through the screen. Now Riley spits facts, confirming the plan worked out perfectly. He lets out a heavy sigh, trying to get his mind straight. Flashing his smirk, he gives the guy's performance a solid 9.8 out of 10. Crad drops some heavy irony right away, not getting why he went so easy on the rating. Cutting his partner off, he tells the guy to stop whining and focus on what's coming next. With a side glance, he faces the new mission with zero motivation, just pure boredom. He holds it together, accepting his role now is carrying the burden of being the weakest link. The kid freezes up instantly, feeling a super weird energy hanging around. Heavy vibes fill the air so thick you could cut it with a knife, as silence takes over. Wasting no time, the guy keeps it real and demands he keeps grinding, no slacking off. Stares at his own palm and mumbles, completely lost in thought, totally clueless. The girl stares at what she just grabbed with a face that screams she's lost. She flashes a mocking smirk and clowns the kid, joking that he's looking like a zombie. Seeing the master completely wrecked, she gets anxious and starts worrying about his condition. But she cuts him off right there, keeping it real that his exhaustion level is just not normal. Her toothpick drops as she shrugs and keeps it real. She has zero idea what he's saying. The girl freezes on the spot in sheer panic, realizing she just swallowed something she definitely shouldn't have. Real dread hits hard and she gets terrified that this poison just sent her packing for good. Without wasting a second, the duo starts brainstorming about what they're gonna do next. She tries to play hard to get, but her face completely gives away that she fell for his taunt. Out of patience, she cuts the chatter and tells him to just spit it out already. The dude also drops the truth that Riley has zero clue about the cracked power he holds. Just hearing Troy's name, the girl gets visibly shaken and completely loses her ground. Flashing a mocking smile, she shoots that glare that would intimidate anyone on the spot. To calm him down, the girl keeps it real that the secret is keeping simple things simple. Her face doesn't lie. His mocking hit a nerve and made the vibe super awkward. Refusing to let it slide, she fires back right away, asking what exactly he thinks is so simple. No stalling. The bizarre creature just stands by waiting for the next order to make a move. With that creepy smile, he gives the green light for the finishing blow. The impact was so heavy that the girl went flying and slammed hard into the ground. Meanwhile, she freezes completely, paralyzed by the ridiculous pressure coming from that attack. She's left in shock, trying to process every single word she just heard. The only option is getting answers from Troy because he's the only one to explain this mess. Even feeling skeptical, she still listens to a crucial tip about Troy. Furious, the friend keeps it real and throws some serious shade at her choices. She freezes up instantly, looking super confused just from hearing the guy's name. Her blood boils right away and she yells out to defend Troy with everything she's got. Rethinking everything, she wonders if going through all that trouble to raise the kids was actually worth it. Then she gets all soft, dropping praises and treating Troy like he's the greatest guy alive. Riley is still boiling with rage when, out of nowhere, Lee pulls her into a super tight hug. But right after, she shakes her head and ditches the idea like, no way that's happening. Focusing on the danger ahead, a sudden warning drops, and just like that, everything changed. She zones out wondering if some Prince Charming is going to show up to save the day, just like in those fairy tales. Meanwhile, the MC pushes forward and faces those creepy shadows head on, wielding the tentacle real fast, all while keeping up that hero pose. With her heart pounding out of her chest and a bright red face, she screams for him in panic. The MC lets out a yell, rushing hard, just wanting to know if she's in one piece. A bizarre energy starts swirling around the kid, making the vibe incredibly heavy. Laughing out loud, the kid celebrates that crazy win like there's no tomorrow. A little before he protected the girl, snacking and thinking, he gets paranoid, wondering if that demon mess is finally over. To him, everything's already settled, figuring the others probably handled that whole disaster by now. He stops eating instantly, frozen on the spot just from hearing that chatter about Sector 7. Weirdly enough, that copy Dominic made actually has an expiration date. Panting heavily, the dude sprints off with the snacks in hand, praying that thing shows up ASAP. The guy freezes up, eyes wide in pure shock as he pieces together what's going down. Heart racing, she blurts out Riley's name, completely stunned by the whole situation. Looking at that beast knocked out on the floor, the guy realizes instantly, no doubt about it, that's the demon. Distracted thinking about life, Riley completely missed the danger creeping up right behind her. The guy locks up on the spot, unable to even catch his breath from the shock of what he just witnessed. Black sludge starts dripping dripping from the kid's hands, fully summoning the ink's power. He drops the package, not even caring if things are gonna go south or not. The kid gets into stance, ready to push forward. She screams for Riley as she watches the attack slice through the air like a blur. Leaping like a cat, the kid delivers a sharp strike, landing right on the money. The impact is so brutal the kid drops straight to his knees, with the force of the hit slicing everything around him. Hanna hits her hard when the danger gets way too close for comfort. Eyes wide open, he keeps it real with Dominic, asking what kind of dangerous threat is heading their way. The sweet flavor explodes in his mouth, leaving the guy entirely clueless about what's going on. The two of them stand side by side, completely glued to what's playing on the screen. Anxious, he nudges his partner and tells him to just spill the beans and explain what that chat was about. Feeling dizzy from that weird flavor, the guy just blurts out, "Wait, why does this taste like caramel?" Hyped beyond belief, the dude lets out a yell, claiming that saving Troy was the peak of romance. The beast gets furious and immediately demands who's the one responsible for this clown show. Dominic is completely wiped out, feeling the dead weight of all that built-up stress in his mind and body. Barely having time to breathe, about 2 days later, the girl is already diving into another mission. Slumped against a log in the middle of the woods, it finally hits her what actually went down. With a stare that pierces the soul, she drops the question, why dig up a past that's already dead and buried? In the background, the girl just watches everything paralyzed, frozen out of pure fear. He starts rambling over his words, terrified of how she's gonna react. Remembering the bracelet left on the table, everything finally clicks in her head. Upset, she admits she can't swallow this whole story of him wandering around without his bracelet. Now the focus shifts entirely to Troy's hair. Without a second thought, the guy yells out, offering his own life to try and fix the mess. The strike lands dead on and leaves no room for doubt, making the kid see stars from all that pain. Feeling suspicious, she keeps it real and asks why his look hasn't changed one bit. Totally confused, the kid blurts out that he blew all the cash on snacks along the way. She slaps a hand on the kid's head and shuts down the conversation for good. The kid actually breathes a sigh of relief, but she kills his vibe with serious mockery, not buying a single word. Pausing to think, she realizes that this time, she managed to escape without a scratch even after causing so much chaos. She calls him out, saying the fact he forgot instantly proves the guy isn't used to this stuff at all. The whole village goes into panic mode when that monster spawns out of nowhere, bringing absolute terror. Lunging forward, thirsty for blood, the beast shows off those knife-like teeth. With a death stare and zero patience for silence, she straight up asks about the job. And all of this is the fault of that damn demon king who turned everyone's lives upside down. Looking completely unamused, she throws it in his face that he needs to fulfill their deal right now, except he ignores the danger completely and just throws a mocking laugh right back at her, leaving this heavy mystery in the air about what actually went down there. Out of nowhere, Kuro pops up super hyped, flashing that cynical smirk like he's here to cause trouble. The MC gets totally shocked, unable to believe what he just found out about his mysterious coworker. Sick of seeing so many people walking into the room, the girl just takes a bitter sip of coffee while staring at the chaos, but he tries to hold things back and asks for a timeout so the kids can rest a bit. With no time to waste, he lays down the law and warns that the squad's training is going to be brutal. Looking like a total goof, the kid asks if this training is going to cure his slow reflexes. Flashing that little smirk, he throws a deal at the kid, make a pact and go back to normal, dropping this bizarre form for good. With a mocking smirk, the guy keeps it real. He'll figure out a way to cure his partner himself. The talk gets serious and the vibe gets heavy the second he confirms every single detail. Blay, looking super worried, decides to tag along to Riley's training to see what his deal is. Cutting this flashback, we jump right back to the present day. The guy lets out a quiet "oh," finally realizing how the whole thing works. Full of mockery, she keeps it real. Instead of grinding himself to death in training, he should be burying his face in books. She scowls instantly and lays it out straight. She wants to know what he's scheming right now. But if things get serious, he's more than ready to turn the tables and make it happen. Troy finally hears the call and doesn't even have time to stay on the fence. Without a second thought, the guy lets out a yell, agreeing to everything, scared to death. He stops the training on the spot and announces the evaluation time is finally here. The kid goes into shock reading that report and realizes the test is just impossible to pass. Remembering what he warned about the training, Riley sets the record straight. He wants everyone giving their all in the fight. Now measuring the squad's real level turned into a massive headache. He quickly brings up Blee to justify exactly why he made that call. Throwing the kid into a real fight is the perfect chance to see what he's actually made of. Except he notices something is very wrong and the paranoia starts hitting hard. Drenched in sweat, the girl keeps it real about the place being super weird. The girl freezes completely when it hits her that they walked right into the trap. He seizes the moment and and pitches the idea to take a stroll in that area Riley knows like the back of his hand. Freezing for a second, the girl lets out a scream of pure shock, unable to believe her own eyes. The girl's brain short-circuits on the spot, unable to even process what she just heard. Flashing that mocking smirk, the die makes the whole squad freeze, with nobody knowing how to react. Instantly, fear hits hard when she realizes she just turned into a real demon. Sweating cold, the beast drops a heavy taunt, making it clear it has zero respect for humans. Rubinette is completely lost, having no clue what she's even doing in such a bizarre place. But he flashes that sly smile and drops the truth. Wouldn't it be way better to let Troy handle this mess? She stops to think about it and figures out Troy still needs to grind a lot to level up. Letting out a creepy chuckle, he mocks both of them for having so much audacity. With a deep stare into their eyes, the guy asks straight up if this was exactly the outcome they expected. The kid lets out a sigh, grips his weapon, and claims he's gonna give it his all for the mission. Visibly shaken, the guy asks if there's any other way, or if he'll really have to cross his allies. Then he drops Tinto's name into the mix. Like the guy is the perfect example of what's going down. Sick of all this stalling, the guy decides it's time to step in and settle this problem once and for all. At the end of the day, the ruler is crushing it and taking control of the whole thing like a boss. Now they just need to figure out what to do with Troy, leaving everyone completely on edge. A bizarre smile stretches across his face, while a tense silence takes over everything. With that mockery on his face, he keeps it real that things just got dead serious. The dude's eyes go wide and despair hits hard, showing absolutely zero mercy. Unleashing a creepy dark power, the kid completely bodies his opponent in 2 seconds. In a surgical move, he fires off a slashing attack that slices through everything in its path. The guy freezes on the spot, his eyes popping out from pure fear of what's coming. He stands static against that aura, like he can't believe what's happening right in front of him. Mocking his opponent, he clowns that strike that didn't do a single thing. Laughing mockingly, the villain asks if the kid is already losing control of the situation. With a look like he couldn't care less, he drops some heavy irony on the poor guy. His face showing an ironic smile, he starts breaking down exactly how that bizarre power actually works. This is where it gets good. When it clicks, the girl freezes up entirely, terrified of what she just found out. Without a second thought, her blood boils instantly, and she gets possessed by rage from what she just heard. Then the girl realizes on the spot that she completely forgot to train. Troy doesn't even blink, proving his secret is staying elegant and taking everything seriously. With his eyes on every move, he quickly realizes he's seen his pattern before. Having no clue what to do, she freezes instantly and feels her heart almost jumping out of her chest. Her heart races and a weird tightness takes over, leaving the girl in pure agony. He throws that little smirk and keeps it real. The true nightmare is just getting started. Catching a glimpse of that pink hair, he gets all puzzled as a creepy doubt starts creeping in. The guy is the talk of the town because of some destroy crops, and his rep isn't looking good at all. Except, right away she realizes that nonsense talk doesn't make a single ounce of sense. Realizing the dude has absolutely nowhere left to run. Out of nowhere, Riley calls and cuts right through that whole vibe of indecision. Then he speaks up asking why the kid charged in while just grumbling to himself in the corner. The vibe gets heavy instantly, and he keeps it real. This time things are getting serious, and he's not holding back. Right then, the beast stops talking out of nowhere, looking like it has zero clue what's going on. Eyes locked on him, the guy drops the question straight up. Was it the kid who made all that mess? He drops the heavy truth, saying he's trapped in his own realm, way far from there. He keeps it real that using the girls as bait is just a way to get exactly what he wants. Because of this whole thing, he gave up and stopped hunting people around there for good. Lost in his own thoughts, the kid just stares into space looking like he's carrying the weight of the world. With no patience for cheap talk, the monster loses its mind and charges in going all out. The guy clenches his fist and throws a punch loaded with sharp spikes right at the poor dude. Having nowhere to run, the scumbag lands the hit with everything he's got right on his face. The impact was so brutal that the whole ground shook and kicked up a creepy dust cloud. This dude is on a level that makes any previous struggle look like a joke, but he quickly sets the record straight, making it clear he's not getting involved in this beef. Especially since he knows exactly what the guy is trying to get out of the story. Realizing the kid's power is just on another level, the monster doesn't even argue and admits the guy is gonna win. Just from seeing how the kid defended himself, the enemy instantly realizes he's using the Ink Realm techniques. The second he saw that strike, the villain villain cracked a sarcastic smile, like he was already expecting it. Eyes sparking with pure hate, the dude keeps it real and asks what kind of OP defense that was. The dude freezes on the spot, eyes wide open, unable to believe what he just witnessed. In a split second, the opponent goes crazy and vanishes from the guy's sight in the blink of an eye. After seeing the technique, the guy admits he messed up and underestimated the kid's potential way too much. Even so, the villain had no choice but to acknowledge that the kid was cracked and super smart. Moving like a nimble ninja, the kid pulls off a crazy jump and luckily dodges a hit that would have been fatal. Staring down the kid, the monster laughs, mocking him for having zero survival instinct. With that maniac smirk, the guy flashes a look that gives you chills. The impact sends out a massive shockwave that shakes everything around them. Out of nowhere, a blast of raw energy explodes and rips through the whole place. He's locked in, eyes burning, and definitely not taking a single step back now. Finding the ultimate way to clown him, he calls the fool an idiot right to his face. The dust settles and the crew pops up in the corner, keeping a close eye on all the action. Analyzing the brawl, he realizes instantly this dude is a much tougher nut to crack than expected. Then the horned guy gets straight to the point, asking if that pink-haired girl is really the one they want. Letting out an ear-piercing yell, he celebrates, finally finding out Rubinette's name. Besides that, the guy's physique is just naturally built different. A creepy thought hits him. Did this guy just completely break the system? Charging forward, the beast mocks every single punch the kid throws. After weighing the options, he realizes Rubinette is delivering way more than he bargained for. Feeling the energy rushing through his body, the boy knows the situation isn't changing anytime soon. Except the fight is dragging on so long his hands are practically begging for mercy. That intense glow in his eyes proves the tables have officially turned. With a loud crack, there's no denying it. The guy's defense just shattered completely. The crystal shatters to pieces from the hit, leaving everyone's jaw on the floor. Furious, he lashes out, asking what kind of cheap trick or cheat the kid used to get this power spike. Refusing to accept the outcome, the creature insists there was dirty play involved. Out of nowhere, a massive energy wave bursts out and lights up everything around. Can this fighter really be just a meathead with zero brains? The kid couldn't care less about those tricks and decides to focus purely on raw strength. Wasting no time on cheap talk, he says screw it and starts wrecking everything in sight. Eyes locked on nothing, the guy's expression shifts instantly, overflowing with a rage he can't even hide. Keeping his guard high, the kid keeps it real. He's not backing down until he gets what he wants. Right then, a familiar face shows up asking what he's doing around there so early. Troy, being just 12 years old, freezes up completely hearing the master's words. Not missing a beat, the teacher asks point blank if he can't see the place is dead silent this early. Just hearing Riley's name, the boy's emotions go straight down the drain. Head down and sweating bullets, Troy can only confirm with an awkward nod. Chilling out a bit, he realizes his performance level isn't actually a problem. The guy starts shaking like a leaf under his scarf and loses his cool completely. Walking up smoothly, she holds her hand out to the kid, offering that support he desperately needed. Troy accepts right away, but begs for just one more second to finish training. Completely lost, the girl repeats the word, trying to figure out what his deal is. Tightening his grip on the blade, the guy celebrates finally crushing his workout. Because honestly, nobody ever taught him how to wield this power, right? Scratching his head in confusion, the guy tries to process how he managed to pull that off. The girl is left in shock, unable to believe all that strength worked on the first try. But the MC doesn't even care, stating that everything is under control and perfectly fine. Pulling the scarf up to his nose, he drops the dead serious look and shows what he's here for. Without losing momentum, he swoops in and slits right past the dude's defense. He delivers a sharp strike that sends the target flying away with full force. Pushed to the limit, the villain begs for mercy and pleads to stop, unable to handle the pressure. The bright flash reflects on the guy's face, completely paralyzed by fear. A heavy wave of nostalgia hits, bringing all those memories rushing back at once. Focused on winning, he lays it out straight that he isn't taking a single step back. A red aura takes over everything, proving things are dead serious and there's no holding back now. This impact unleashes a creepy energy that makes the entire floor collapse. Panting hard, he admits this brawl has crossed every acceptable line. To tap into life energy is what truly opens your mind to understand what people are actually about. He realizes instantly this plan is the complete opposite of her usual style. That intense gleam in his eyes gives away his doubt on why that flow was kept under lock and key. Charging at Crad with bloodlust, the challenger is dead set on ending this clown show once and for all. The guy gets into stance and keeps it real. Better get ready because now he'll see what you're made of. But his stiff posture gives away that he's about to lay all his cards on the table right now. Letting out a mocking laugh, the villain spits facts to him. This whole act is just a pathetic joke. After centuries of watching that flow, the guy knows it all and there's no hiding his game anymore. Completely clueless, the dude lashes out asking why on earth he decided to cross him like that. Calling for Kuro, he drops a basic apology for ruining the guy's peace and quiet. He makes a calm gesture and keeps it real. The beef is officially over. Spitting blood, the guy begs on his knees for just one more chance. With its mind completely broken, the monster admits it messed up bad and swears it'll never show its face around there again. Staring with disgust, he drops the truth. Why on earth should he trust a guy who eats kids? Then the freak Pinky swears he's a vegetarian now and doesn't do those evil things anymore. The guy even admits the other dude has every right to be pissed about the whole situation. Even if that kid talk is pure cat, the vibe stays incredibly heavy. Wasting no time, he takes on that main character stance and decides to wipe out the threat before things get worse. He begs for a timeout to heal up his crystals before jumping back into the clash. Pleading for a chance, the dude swears he'll prove his innocence no matter what. The monster freezes up instantly, stutters all over, and completely loses track of its own lies. Unable to believe his ears, the kid halts, trying to process how the guy had the nerve to drop such a bizarre excuse. Suddenly, the boy realizes something is terribly wrong right in front of him. Getting totally distracted by everyone's vibe, the guy completely dropped the ball and didn't even hear what Rubenette said. The dude freezes on the spot, unable to make a single peep at the scene unfolding. His eyes go wide in shock, making it crystal clear he's scared to death. Hearing the name, she goes cold instantly and freezes up like she just got struck by lightning. Through the comms, the guy doesn't quit and keeps pressing to get any detail on the target. Furious, she keeps it real and asks if he'd actually drop the target just because their skills don't match. Without wasting time, she warns Troy she's checking those files right now. Holding the message, the kid tries to cook up something to say to get out of this. He takes a look at the logs and realizes something super weird is going on, way beyond that pink hair. This bizarre detail leaves the guy completely thrown off. Letting out a defeated sigh, the boy can only mutter an, "Oh my god." With zero patience, he puts an end to the chat and hangs up the phone right in their face. What doubt, he lets out a deep sigh, unable to even believe what he just saw on the screen. Bawling her eyes out and sobbing non-stop, the person begs for forgiveness like her life depends on it. The brute keeps crying, desperately demanding any info about the girl's hair. Outside, the sky is clear as day, which only makes him more confused with the mess inside his head. Out of nowhere, the ground shakes violently, kicking up a dust cloud that blinds everyone. Blood flies everywhere and he confirms the mission without even blinking. Scanning the area, he spots nothing weird and decides to just chill and wait. Once the announcement drops, Troy is declared the absolute winner of the arena. They just stand there by the woods, watching the smoke rise in the distance. Deep down, he keeps wondering what on earth these demons want so badly around these parts. His eyes glow at an insane level, and his face scowls instantly, filled with pure rage. The kid freezes up on the spot, trying to explain what he just found out, but the words just won't come out. His voice cracks the second they ask if that guy is actually Blee. Focusing his eyes on that figure far away, he gets lost in the sunset. He knows he completely ignored her warning but decided to show up anyway. Stepping on his wrecked opponent, he clowns the guy for not even being able to fight back, except he doesn't miss the chance and drops a challenge. Why didn't the guy finish him off when he had the chance? It hits him that the other dude is totally right about what he's saying. Losing her cool completely, she drops a, "How is this possible?" unable to believe her own eyes. The guy feels that classic deja vu and realizes instantly his opponent has zero technique, just pure raw strength. Flashing a smirk, he throws the question right back with the highest level of mockery. Face twisted with pure hate, he lets out a scream, swearing he's going to wipe the floor with the kid. Pinning the freak to the ground, he lays it out. One word, and it's over. He gives it straight with that look of someone who knows the guy's fate is already sealed. Facing the danger head on, she fires back a blunt answer that leaves the dude frozen on the spot. Now, they just gotta wait and see if the reality finally hit her. The guy gets super paranoid, wondering if it's now or never. Not even flinching, the dude just stands there, reflecting on how everything played out exactly as planned. With that sinister glare that promises nothing good, the guy pockets the message and lets the vibe get heavy. Taking a massive punch, the kid loses his balance instantly and feels the shockwave through his whole body. Shamelessly ignoring the apology, he loses his mind and dips straight to the castle. Surrounded by all those flames, she doesn't even blink and keeps an icy stare, dead set on following the plan. "Stay right there," the guy bluntly says, already declaring the end of the line for the situation. Staring deep into his eyes, she spits facts, with zero mercy, hitting him like a straight punch to the jaw. Mockery written all over her face, she asks who would ever want to go out like that. Floating in the air, the kid ignores the laws of physics while everything around him turns into a barbecue. With complete disregard, she drops the truth and ends the conversation on the spot. The massive castle spawns out of nowhere in that scenery, clashing with the creepy purple sky. Standing right there on the giant staircase, she stares into the void, feeling the weight of all that loneliness. Slumped on the steps, she lets out a sigh of someone who's sick and tired of waiting for the crew to show up. The girl freezes instantly and opens her eyes in shock, unable to believe what's right in front of her. Air starts running out and the despair hits hard, with absolutely no way to hide it. Kneeling with total respect, he confirms he's finally here to report to his master. The entity gives him a pat on the back, praises his work, and tells Dominic to take a well-deserved break. Deep in the background, a creepy horned shadow starts calling for Lord Kraid. Dominic throws out an apology, totally lost and trying to digest what just happened in his mind. With that grumpy look on his face, Kraid gets straight to it and asks why the guy is so chill. Flashing a sly little smirk, the creature claims there's no way it's his fault. He realizes the job was done perfectly and keeps it real, guaranteeing there's zero acting going on. Wrapped in those shadows, the guy blurts out that his patience is officially running out. While analyzing Troy's fight, he finally figures out what the real deal is. At the end of the day, he's just mind blown by the ridiculous speed of this glow-up. The guy starts sweating bullets and panic hits like a truck, completely taking over every inch of him. After all, just sending weak opponents would only leave them stuck with zero level-ups. Thinking about it, he realizes that besides wanting a worthy rival, catching a basic romance wouldn't hurt either. Aware of this drama, he decides to hunt down people who can actually go toe-to-toe with him. Facing that creepy structure, the guy's fate finally starts becoming crystal clear. With that blank stare, she drops a crazy request right to the boss. Both of them freeze instantly, trying to process that bomb that was just dropped. Out of nowhere, Blaze shows up yelling, totally hyped because time was flying and he couldn't wait any longer. Smiling wide, she checks if the kid is doing okay and if he's grabbed anything to eat today. Immediately, she invites the kid to dig into her special dish. Super pumped, the guy doesn't think twice and offers to serve up a huge plate for him. The kid's appetite shoots through the roof just hearing the details of that weird meal. She shoots down the greasy suggestion instantly and demands an omelet. No way she's eating the other thing. Pissed off, he keeps it real and asks if the whole world decided to team up just to ruin his life. To change the subject, he switches gears and asks how Troy and Riley have been doing. She gives this awkward little laugh, getting all tangled up trying to explain how they are. Losing her patience, she blurts out they're just cowards for not having the guts to try her cooking. Out of patience, she keeps it real and throws in his face that he's acting like a literal child. Flashing a knowing smirk, she dares the guy to just taste the food already. Stubborn as ever, he crosses his arms and tells her to bring the food so he can see what's up. Suddenly, someone kills the vibe by shouting that they finally found the girl. The guy walks up all smiles, greeting Hook and Silk right away and asking how they're holding up. Her jaw just drops and she freezes completely, clearly in shock over what she just heard. Hyped out of his mind, he reveals that those are the official hero uniforms. Unable to believe it, he goes off on Blay, asking why the dude kept this secret for so long. The girl is totally floored by the news, lets out a heavy sigh, and has zero clue how to react to this. They both just stare with a blank expression, having no idea how to process so much kindness. Right then and there, the guy's fate seems pretty much sealed. Wearing a super serious face, he asks if the daily life of a hero has changed drastically. A slight smirk on his face, he keeps it real, saying that, honestly, almost nothing changes. Besides that, a hand-picked crew still dives straight into subjugation raids. Just by glancing at his uniform, you can tell the guy is on guard duty today. Happily munching on some food, she just watches everything with her eyes wide open. Riley gets all awkward, hiding his hunger while throwing compliments at the meal. Ever since she was little, Riley never passes up a basic pastry, especially a good croissant. In the past, he used to keep to himself, absolutely terrified to even get close to the guy. But the girl freezes completely, turning bright red from embarrassment. Keeping the momentum, she brings up how the crowd is talking about them after they cleared the raids. That's when pure panic hits, and neither of them can hide how incredibly tense they are. Completely lost, the girl stutters that she never expected him to react like this. They pulled off this crazy feat in less than 30 days after becoming heroes, except a bunch of mid-haters, fueled by pure jealousy, started spreading a ton of rumors around. Everyone is completely shocked just thinking about how that clueless kid managed to solo the monster. Riley keeps it real and asks if he actually looks like someone who gets clowned that easily. Meanwhile, Riley was on a completely different vibe, dealing with struggles kept entirely to himself. Despite that, he pokes fun at the name, claiming it sounds way way too girly for his taste. Then he dropped a super cryptic answer, leaving the vibe hanging and changing the subject instantly. The kid turns bright red like a tomato, giving away instantly that he's dying of embarrassment. Stumbling over his words, the rookie insists on knowing if she actually realizes who he is. While people waste their time on rumors, Riley prefers to chill, dealing with heavy stuff nobody even knows about. Noticing the guy is completely wiped out, she keeps it real and suggests a break to recharge. To lighten the mood, he lets out an awkward laugh and dodges the topic, denying the label right away. Looking back on her golden days, she brags about having endless suitors chasing after her. With his guard fully up, the guy stays on standby, waiting to see what the next move is gonna be. Unable to hold the dude's heavy stare, the kid lowers his head, feeling incredibly awkward. Flashing that soul-piercing look, he cuts the nonsense and orders the kid to pay attention right now. In a super proud tone, the veteran lays it out. His apprentice finally learned the ropes. The clear sky in the background makes that medieval castle pop and completely steal the show. Giving an awkward little smile, he dips right away because guard duty waits for absolutely no one. She lets out a little smirk and wishes Troy an ironic good luck, just to mess with him. The pinch came out of nowhere and she let out a scream instantly. Eyes wide open in shock, she scolds the master for going way too hard on him. Scowling out of pure jealousy, she asks if the kid only has eyes for Troy now. Turning bright red, she frantically shushes him so nobody overhears their chat. Flashing a mocking smile, she keeps teasing and asks if the chemistry between them is still alive. Her jaw drops and she can't even hide how nervous that new discovery makes her. Flashing that knowing smirk, Riley jokes that even her clueless husband already figured out what was going on. Turning pale as a ghost, she starts shaking and almost collapses from that heavy reality check. Rushing out of there, she throws some shade, saying those kids are just way too immature. Catching her trying to dip, Lee steps in to block the exit, but the vibe gets super tense instantly. Furious, she shuts the guy down on the spot, making it clear she doesn't want help or any more trash from that place. Keeping her guard high, she goes off on him, proving she isn't taking disrespect from anybody. Right before leaving, she opens her arms asking for one last goodbye hug. With that sad and distant look, she just stands there staring into the void. No second thoughts, she pulls the guy into a super tight and emotional hug, asking Blee point blank if he feels that same pain. She wants to know if they're on the same page. Questioning his own choices, he finally realizes he's acting like a massive jerk. Letting out a knowing laugh, he admits he lost his mind over some seriously clueless stuff. That genuine hug brought a peace she hadn't felt in a really long time. Throwing some heavy mockery, he calls the legendary warrior just another cheap scammer. Leaving the doubt hanging, he asks if Blay was actually to blame for that whole mess. The kid lets out a terrified scream and freezes on the spot, unable to even react. Trying to stop the guests from dipping, he sells this fake promise of VIP treatment to keep them around. Wrapping it up, he keeps it real. Whoever isn't ready to face the danger better bounce right now. Bawling his eyes out, he begs the guy to hold up and not leave just yet. Annoyed, the guy gets mad that someone ruined the whole vibe they had going on. Smiling bright, she feels like she just hit the absolute peak of happiness. Deep down, her biggest wish was for that peace to last forever, especially since Lord Crod hasn't dropped a single word about the situation. Nobody even knows how many days went by since Blay's second warning, turning into a total mystery. Chilling by the door, she just listens to that quill scratching paper all night long until sunrise. Catching on to the enemy's new trick instantly, he keeps his focus locked on the main goal. Thinking back to their last brawl, the guy realizes she got cracked at hiding her tracks. Staring Destiny down, a heavy doubt creeps in about what's gonna happen to Crad from here on out. An unbearable pain knocks the wind out of him, making him struggle just to hold back a scream. Shaking off those random thoughts, the guy decides to just focus on the grind and ignore the rest. Even against a super strong enemy, the guy feels his reflexes starting to fail when it matters most. The hit paralyzes everything and he needs to move right now or he's getting packed up. Sweating bullets, Kraid drops Lord Onley's name, barely believing this is actually happening. Flashing a cocky smirk, the guy makes it obvious he's feeling super confident about what's coming next. Ignoring the person right in front of him, the dude asks point blank what kind of madness is going down. Before Dominic can even process it, he feels a tap on his shoulder and the guy introduces himself, leaving him mind blown. It's pretty obvious the fool has no idea what kind of mess he just walked into, but after hearing that name, the guy decides to just let the mistake slide this one time. Looking down at the kid, Lord Onley scoffs and asks if he's really sure they're going the right way. Unable to believe his ears, the kid just stands there with a blank stare, having zero clue what's going on. Totally confused, the demon keeps it real and asks why the guy is crashing their spot. Furious, the guy speaks up. Why drag him all the way there if everyone is playing dumb about the real reason? But if Boss Kraid insisted on having him there, the situation must be dead serious. His eyes go wide instantly, getting completely shocked by the news. A bunch of sharp blades spawn out of nowhere around the kid, sending him into full panic mode. Bizarre shadows start coming to life and surround the boy from every single angle. Feeling suspicious, he remembers those creepy rumors about the crew working in the castle. Dravi stares the squad down and keeps it real. To him, they're just another random target on his list. Except the crew's mockery just makes the guy even more ticked off. Shooting a curious look at his partner, Dominic has no clue why Crad decided to summon him out of nowhere. Dominic freezes on the spot, completely paralyzed just from hearing how that voice sounded in the background. Making it clear he goes by Kral now. The guy commands absolute respect whether they like it or not. Throwing some casual banter, he drops a golden piece of advice for the kid. Totally lost, the kid just stares blankly, having zero clue what's going down. Without even knowing who else is after him, he warns that the beef is strictly with whoever is listening right now. It finally clicks, and he realizes exactly who's pulling the strings behind all this mess. The vibe gets incredibly heavy the second that dangerous crew steps into the scene. Shaking like a leaf, the kid panics the second he recognizes that unmistakable voice. Freaking out with joy, the girl can't hold back and squeezes his cheeks, totally melting, shamelessly flirting. Asila doesn't even care about the poor girl beside her dying of fear. Pissed off, the poor guy gets mad that Creed is ignoring him like it's nothing. Come on, giving the supreme boss of Asila the cold shoulder isn't exactly a smart survival strategy. The guy's neck locks up instantly, with every muscle tense and running cold. Bait, basically the #1 demon, asks straight up why the dude has been dodging summons lately. Losing her patience on the spot, the girl boils with rage because he just trashed her hard work out of pure arrogance. But she freezes right there, totally lost, having zero clue what this place even is. Tossing an idea out, she suggests teaming up so they can finally find what they're looking for. It was no use, his stubbornness ended up attracting even the sneakiest monsters around there. Flashing a death stare, the beast demands to know why on earth is everyone gathered here. The kid freezes on the spot, completely in shock over what he just found out. Paralyzed, the dude gets that look of someone who just realized he had no idea how real the danger was. Giving a quick shout out to thank them for the backup, the kid starts planning his next move. Trusting Lord Bates' words, the crew finally takes in how massive that place actually is. Except the tension in the air already proves a massive fight is about to break out. Shaking like a leaf, the guy's voice even cracks while trying to call for Dominic. But right now, there are only 11 people scattered around the area. As crazy as it sounds, there's a ton of people packed into that place. In absolute shock, she asks point blank if that was really it. While they wait, he offers to tell an old school story just to kill some time. Thousands of years ago, the barrier keeping the realms apart got wiped out by a massive abyss. Anyone who fell in vanished instantly, leaving absolutely zero trace. Chaos breaks loose everywhere, with humans and demons begging for that nightmare to end. Out of nowhere, someone showed up to devour all that darkness, swallowing the world. Everyone sighed in relief and started celebrating since the guy literally saved the day and stopped the apocalypse. Except that guy ended up bringing a brand new kind of despair to the masses. On the flip side, he sparked a hope in the demons that nobody even knew existed. And that's where it gets crazy. The demons hit a power level that no one can handle anymore. But then the tables turn and the whole situation changes completely. Looking super sarcastic, he drops a, "So what? The plan is to enslave everyone now?" Fired up, the dude points right at the other guy's face and yells, "Move it, do something already." Deep down, Crad never even cared about taking over the human world. One by one, they stepped to the master, trying to flex and demand respect. Crad basically owned the entire abyss and gave absolutely no room to breathe. Realizing he was getting bodied, the demon tapped out and started whining about everything. He portions out a small piece of the abyss and just watches, seeing who actually has the guts to handle the pressure. A dark drop hits the ground, sealing the fate of anyone trying to team up with the abyss. Whoever stepped up to challenge that place just turned to dust, disappearing without a trace. Since he runs the show down there, the guy became everyone's #1 target by default. Despite being the absolute boss, his own kind doesn't even try to hide how much they hate his guts. Except, crossing the boss's orders is a terrible idea and the punishment is brutal. Staring at all that chaos, he can only think about how clueless these guys are. The worst part is nobody even bothers to cook up an excuse that actually makes sense. Taking the hint, he decides to just say screw it and wreck the whole hierarchy for good. Like clockwork, that annoying cycle of drama feels like it's never gonna end. Turning to Bade, he keeps it real and demands answers right this second. No one saw that coming, things are about to get crazy, and the real game begins. Realizing that stressing over this is just a massive waste of time. Locked in on his goal, he swallows his pride and deals with the pain of serving an annoying boss. But some movement on the stairs catches his eye instantly, so he can't let his guard down. Refusing to believe his eyes, he squints to make absolutely sure who it is. A blur flies down the stairs and crashes into the hall with a massive bang. Hitting the ground releases this creepy energy that completely fills up the room, but his partner just stares blankly, totally lost without a clue of what's happening. Panic takes over Dominic completely the second he realizes who's running the show here. Flashing a mocking smirk, he keeps it real, straight to the point, no time wasted. Now everyone in the room knows exactly who got summoned. The whole squad is all ears as he lays down a pretty wild proposal. Catching a glimpse, he locks onto them. Troy and Riley are the targets today. Both of them check out the paper looking totally clueless about what it means. Crab lays his cards on the table, promising absolute loyalty to whoever wins this brawl. Even the veteran fighters are completely stunned when he drops that massive bomb. Raising a finger, the kid steps up and speaks his mind with pure confidence. The girl freezes on the spot, unable to process a single word she just heard. Realizing the kid is no fool, he decides to tackle the situation head-on. 3 years before cooking up this whole plan, Crad already had one goal locked in his mind. Staying super positive, he guarantees that nobody is going to stop what he started. Dominic wonders if he messed up this choice, but it's way too late to turn back now. That heavy dilemma about the Abyss's power just won't leave his head, hammering away non-stop. Out of nowhere, that voice starts pressing Creed, demanding answers right this second. The dude completely loses it, looking like he can't even believe his own eyes. Furious, the Brood points fingers and completely roasts everyone, throwing Demon Honor right in the trash. Sizing up his opponent, the guy wastes zero time and calls him just another random amateur. Mocking him hard, he warns he's personally gonna plant a tombstone right over the guy's body. The kid is like, "Come on, man, do we really have to start beefing right now?" She tries to explain, keeping it real that all this mess is tied to their connection down here on Earth. Out of nowhere, this bizarre armor spawns and makes the vibe heavy with a super creepy aura. Looking at the crew with pure disgust, he warns Raver to dip right now before things get ugly. Raver doesn't even blink, keeping a cold stare that screams he's not backing down at all. Blinded by rage, the guy can't even process the absolute nonsense he just heard. Surrounded by a heavy aura, he drops an ultimatum. Apologize now or things are gonna go south. Demanding the dude begs for forgiveness right now for what he did to his brother. Mocking them hard, he complains that the crew doesn't even try to work as a team. Looking at the two standing there, he throws some shade about how painfully polite they act. Off to the side, the girl scowls and goes on the defensive, radiating pure disgust you can feel from miles away. Without a second thought, she rushes in and lands a solid hit right in the dude's chest, shutting him down instantly. She demands respect and goes off for being called old. Meanwhile, her partner just sighs, unable to believe the mess that just went down. Swallowing his pride, the minion agrees with the Lord and admits the boss was absolutely right. Sick and tired of the drama, the guy tells everyone to drop this childish clown show. Watching all that chaos unfold, the Lord starts sweating bullets and getting super tense. Terrified, the beast begs for mercy and tells everyone to just drop their guard already. Furious with all that audacity, the monster lets out a scream of pure rage. Telling Dominic to watch out for Rocco, he gets ready to face whatever comes next. Freezing for a sec, the kid gulps hard and drops a "you got it" to prove he's locked in. Holding out his hand to Rocco, he asks the little guy to grab on real quick. The girl jumps out of her skin when she feels his hand touching her out of nowhere, but he keeps it real right there, ordering her to chill out and hold her breath entirely. Cold as ice, he says he's counting to 3, so she better brace herself. His voice not shaking at all, he drops the 2 without a flinch. In a dead silence, she shuts her mouth instantly, knowing it's make or break time. Smirking, the beast orders everyone to shut their mouths right this second. Fear takes over the crowd, and the sheer tension leaves everyone glued to the floor. That touch, which should have been terrifying, weirdly brings this sudden peace he can't even explain. All that's left is pure panic about what's gonna happen to the ones stuck down below. Nowadays, those beasts are basically just fake stories and myths nobody even takes seriously anymore. Except the aura this dragon unleashes is so ridiculous, it leaves everyone completely cornered. Taking point, the Energy Master leads the way and guides the squad forward. Flashing a terrifying glare, the guy challenges whoever has the guts to try and take second place. Jumping right in, he vows to protect Stacy no matter what, making it crystal clear nobody is touching her. Tears start falling and he feels completely broken inside, unable to process what just happened. Pushed to total shock, the guy starts stuttering, desperately trying to explain himself. Annoyed by the interruption, he drops that mocking smirk that just speaks for itself. This isn't just about moving pieces around, the real problem goes way deeper. A sinister grin on his face, he's already cooking up a plan to wipe everyone out. The guy starts throwing a massive fit, waving his arms and demanding they move the car right away. The silence gets super heavy as the kid pops up from the ground, staring the guy down completely chilled out. And just like that, everything changed. A creepy pair of eyes starts glowing in the dark and the vibe gets intense. Busting out a laugh, she admits she can't help it. That kind of humor gets her every time. Roasting her right back, he jokes that this gag literally never gets old. Telling the dude to just bounce, he stays super chill and says there's absolutely nothing to worry about. Out of nowhere, a massive shadow swallows the tower, revealing an ancient beast that means business, staring everyone down with pure hatred. The beast makes it clear it's only there following the boss's orders. A bossy voice echoes across the battlefield, ordering everybody to bounce immediately. Screaming apologies nonstop, the girl dips at light speed, absolutely dying of embarrassment. Taking advantage of the heavy vibe, the monster steps up to lay down the new rules of the game. It doesn't take long for the tables to turn, proving this next part is going to be a massive headache. Done with the mystery, the dude finally spells out exactly how these trials are going to work. Wasting no time, the kid figures out the challenge climbs from the weakest rank up to the top. Taking a look around, he realizes right off the bat there's no way Lord Bait is at the bottom of the food chain. His face drops instantly, showing a level of sheer panic he can't even hide anymore. Crad gets super confused, trying to figure out what kind of insane plan is running through Lord Bait's head. She doubts if she can actually pull this off, but it's pretty clear the enemies are slacking big time. Out of nowhere, Distal, that level 31 demon, rolls up looking to start a brawl. Catenaccio, the level 51 watchman, realizes he can't just stall around anymore. Phantom, sitting at rank 7, steps up to ask what the actual point of this whole scheme is. Her plan is to build an abyss army to take over everything. Coming in at rank 10, Dravi steps up and swears total loyalty to the sisters. Flashes that creepy smile, making it obvious nothing good is coming next. Ranking 11th, Only bursts out laughing like a maniac, celebrating that he's more alive than ever. Freighter, the 23rd demon on the list, applies the pressure, asking if his brother can handle everything before he even makes a move. Meanwhile, 25th ranked Raber rallies the crew to take down anyone who ever acted superior to him. Letting out a crazy laugh, he finally realizes how that whole thing actually works. 33rd on the list, Terra rolls up acting tough and puts himself first in line for the brawl. The guy is dead set on turning the place into a hero graveyard without wasting another second. Behind the scenes, the Demon King is scheming everything to turn Troy and Riley into max-level rivals. Rounding out the squad, Bait shows up with that freezing aura, ready to pack anyone up for good. It's too late now. There's no turning back from what's about to go down. The atmosphere there is pure ice, with a mysterious air that sends shivers down anyone's spine. Scowling, he drops the question right away. What is he even still doing there? He gives that little smirk, making it super obvious everything there was coldly calculated. Completely clueless, the dude wonders why on earth he ended up in that exact spot. All that information at once just makes the guy's brain completely glitch out. Just hearing Crad's name makes the guy shake from head to toe. Out of nowhere, a freezing hand grips his head, forcing the guy to face reality. And just like that, everything changed. This crazy brawl scales up to a whole new level. Just that hit left the guy paralyzed, unable to move a single muscle. The second his foot touched the castle, his biggest nightmare became reality. Flashing a death stare, he goes off, demanding to know who gave permission for that much audacity. He laughs at his own misery, admitting the situation crossed every possible line. Super calmly, he drops some mature talk and asks if the other guy forgot how to treat someone with basic manners. Dropping his head instantly, he realizes he better watch every single word coming out of his mouth. Without wasting time, he cuts in asking who gave the green light to touch someone from his squad. It finally clicks and everything starts making sense in his head. Shaking in his boots, the guy feels all his hope going right down the drain. With that mocking smile, she asks if a little bit of fun already gets him all bothered. An ironic smile on his face, he keeps it real that he's going to return the damage equally. Now the focus is just not messing up and holding down the defense. That glowing mark doesn't lie. It's already 9:28 on Sunday night. A creepy gleam in his eyes, he mutters that he almost missed that so-called sacred ritual. Telling him straight up to bounce, he leaves a super heavy tension in the air. Devastated and clueless, the guy just lowers his head, completely in shock from the loss. Shouting his name cuts the silence so hard the kid freezes on the spot. With that cynical smile, he bluntly says the kid will be shining his shoes real soon. He lets out that mocking little smirk, asking if the kid wants a tip from someone who actually knows stuff. Ordering the kid to stop acting like a child, he says to toughen up if he wants to handle all this power. His blood boils so hot he turns into a beast and demands to know what kind of nonsense this is. Flashing a terrifying smile, the guy orders the kid to bounce right this second. The ground cracks instantly, unable to handle the massive pressure coming off him. Even though the taunt pissed him off, he admits he almost lost his cool completely. Clenching his fist hard, the kid finally lets determination take over completely. He gives thanks for the tip and celebrates that, by a hair, he'll still manage to binge his show's finale. Pissed at the author's clown show, he swears he'll write a purely tragic ending. Holding a little notebook, the on-duty imp questions what the master is actually planning. The imp lets out a sarcastic laugh, swearing this is all part of the grand plan. Super anxious, the guy asks about the prep when out of nowhere he feels a hand on his shoulder. Flashing a side smirk, the beast stares him down, having a blast with that whole scene. He gives that mocking little chuckle, asking if the kid actually has the guts to go that far. With that sneaky look, he flashes a smile, proving something fishy is definitely going on. Rolling his eyes, the kid wastes no time and completely ignores the mockery, not caring about the taunt. Kinda unsure, the guy warns that plans changed, and now it's super urgent. Putting pressure on the crew, he explains straight up why he picked Riley and Troy. Hyped up, the two of them accept the job on the spot, overflowing with energy. Calling the kid over, the guy warns they can't stall anymore and need to bounce right now. The boy gets furious and starts calling the Demon King every name in the book, paralyzed on the spot. The guy's jaw drops at the sheer scale of it, unable to believe it's real. He gets super confused, not understanding why anyone would head into the middle of nowhere just to ask for help. But right now, the guy's mind is racing, unable to process this new quest. Seeing Riley all red, the guy immediately asks if she's running a fever. The guy loses his cool completely and starts freaking out about what's coming next. Super embarrassed, the girl quickly hides her bright red face. Riley apologizes on the spot, dying of embarrassment. Looking up, that endless sky seems to swallow all the fear he was feeling. He flashes an awkward smile and drops a, "So, calm down yet." To help out, he decides to swing by the bakery as soon as the shift ends. There's a very obvious reason he kept it real and turned down Troy's offer. Because of that, he ends up losing control and taking an L in the end. Someone brutally grabs the guy's arm in the blink of an eye. Instantly, his brain glitches out when he realizes she's making it way too easy. That touch sends the girl flying far away from the sheer force of the impact. A bizarre pressure filled the air, something nobody had ever felt before. Sweating bullets, the guy feels a demon breathing right down his neck. She freezes up facing that coldness, feeling a despair that's off the charts. Out of nowhere, a massive pillar shoots from the ground and the kid has to dodge to not get flattened. Bad luck hits hard and the guy goes into full panic, not knowing what to do. Stone hands grab the guy and start crushing him with zero mercy. A creepy smile on his face, he orders the snake to finish the job for good. Sinister energy explodes from the ground, sending a shockwave that blows everything away. Calling for Troy, she senses right away that something is very wrong. She looks up and spots a massive shadow blocking out all the light. Mocking him, the stone beast jokes about blood ties just to push his buttons. He keeps it real, asking why so much evil, while realizing the reward here is way too good to be true. The robot clowns him for the pathetic fight, making it clear there's no mercy now. Switching gears, the stone monster keeps mocking him right to his face. With a creepy little smile, the monster warns that the trial is just starting. Refusing to turn around, she tells him straight up she won't say it again. He scowls and locks in while the system drops the very first rule on him. Even so, he keeps it real that there's one single thing he doesn't doubt at all. The system sends a blunt order, forbidding both of them from speaking about the trial. Taking charge, the monster lays it out. Everyone there is a target and became easy prey. With that death stare, the beast warns that nobody can lend those two a hand. Keeping it real, if the crew doesn't move soon, things will get serious and a lot of people will drop. A sinister glow in his eyes, the guy asks the hard question: do throwaway heroes count toward the casualty list? Wrapping things up perfectly, he says that reason is more than enough to close the topic right there. The hooded crowd starts whispering among themselves, clearly getting super nervous. He takes the heat and orders everyone to obey the boss without questioning a thing. Playing everyone perfectly, he makes the target buy the story like it's the most normal thing ever. The dude even compliments his partner's caramel popcorn, keeping the vibe super chill. Pissed off, the girl cuts the chat. Annoyed he's wasting time with small talk mid-fight. Getting annoyed, the guy drops a "can someone translate?" having no clue what's going on. Out of nowhere, a massive explosion shakes everything and kicks up a creepy dust cloud. Planting her feet firmly, she keeps her eyes glued to the target, ready to strike. She locks eyes with the guy, realizing instantly that his level is no joke. Getting into a solid stance, she just waits for the perfect opening to strike back. Through all that dust, the beast stares down the opponent, unable to believe the guy is still standing. Blades tear through the air, following the motion of a strike meant to destroy everything. The wind starts spinning wildly, gathering a ridiculous amount of energy around her. Taking Taking a deep breath, he's already prepping his next move. She unleashes the full power, letting the ink completely take over everything. Ice blades slice through the air at crazy speeds, dealing massive damage. In a surgical move, he fires an energy blast straight at the target. He thought the strike was just to clear a path, but the real intention was different. In one fluid motion, the guy hits everyone with a precision that's just ridiculous. Adjusting his glasses, he lets out a mocking smile and doubts if the guy is really all that. Eyes sparking with hate, she keeps it real. She wants Troy in front of her right this second, but realizing the energy was fading, he lays it out. Troy's run ends right here. Completely frozen by that whirlwind of emotions, she can't even show a single reaction. Building up the suspense, he says the truth only comes out when you face danger head-on. Wrapped in a creepy energy, the villain ignores everyone and challenges anyone who dares to doubt him. With an icy stare, she states his time is up and his destiny is rock bottom. Checking the area, she bluntly admits she lost the guy's track for good. With a calm look, she figures out what's happening and quietly mumbles I see. Facing that massive bomb, he throws out the question, did the tables really turn like that? When he noticed the trap, the kid realized he just walked into a massive mess. Gripping the piece tightly, the guy just stands there pondering what kind of mystery this is. He flashes that creepy smile, praising Dominic's intuition for being super sharp. Checking out the spot, he realizes that environment gives an insane buff to earth powers. Out of nowhere, a bunch of spikes shoot from the ground and surround the barrier in a brutal attack. The beast completely loses its mind and charges in, wanting to finish the job once and for all. Except a bright glow coming from the core ends up giving away his skill's weak point. Now the problem is finding a way to reach that crystal and wrap this up. Riley lets out a little smirk, finally figuring out what the Titan's weakness is. It's obvious that if Terra slips up even once, Riley turns the tables and takes the win. The air gets heavy, darkness takes over, and the tension goes right through the roof. With a sharp crack, the target finally drops and turns to dust after the hit. A creepy purple energy explosion swallows everything around in the blink of an eye. Keeping it real, the monster says it's wasting time and warns nobody is leaving alive. Frozen on the spot, the robot glitches out, trying to understand what the heck just spawned in front of it. Smirking, the guy claims there's nothing better than tasting that sweet victory. 3 dark spheres float in the air, loaded with a heavy energy ready to blow any second. He makes a slick gesture and starts firing off dark blasts in every direction. Annoyed, the opponent asks if this whole thing is just a joke to him. No point in even trying to run, because the truth is, nobody leaves here alive. The guy's secret is feeling every vibration on the ground. That's the trump card keeping him alive. No matter where the guy tries to hide, the ground always snitches on anyone stepping there. The spheres glow like crazy while he mocks the fool trying to hide. With mockery written all over his face, he asks if any fool would actually fall for such a basic trick. Keeping that fearless posture, he ignores the 3 of them and decides to send everyone to the grave at once. The ground cracks from an insane impact, leaving nowhere to run. It's the end of the line for everyone. Now he's confident the strike will finally make her realize he's built different. Dropping some heavy mockery, he asks if the kid happens to have a servant to wait on him. It wasn't even a trick or illusion. The guy realized instantly someone was standing right there in the flesh. The dude just freezes, because it's impossible to believe what he's seeing in front of him. But he doesn't even hide his irony, noticing his opponent is nothing special, just totally empty. Flashing back to his prison days, the kid finally sees how the pieces fit together. She felt the energy flowing and knew for a fact the beast was completely real. Figuring out what kind of energy this opponent is giving off is his only focus now. At that moment, the opponent turns pale when it clicks and he realizes the truth. When she notices his eyes locked on the glowing sword, she decides it's time to put the plan in motion. Despair hits hard. Because the guy's speed makes 0 sense, it completely defies logic. Sneaking in, the warrior pushed forward with blades ready, not letting anyone notice her. She lands hard and immediately faces the giant stone monster head-on. The big guy freezes instantly and drops a shock, how, unable to process what just happened. To him, it was impossible for someone unarmed to have any chance of turning the tables. And that's where it gets crazy. The strike is fully loaded and ready to be unleashed. The giant freezes, eyes wide with fear because he just realized he's completely cooked. Blee had never dropped this level of intel to anyone before. The kid's jaw drops when he sees the weapon flying back to the guy's hand on its own. That impact is so insane the giant lets out a scream of pure agony. A blue spark travels down the spear, tearing through the air with ridiculous energy. Terror takes over his eyes, leaving him paralyzed in front of a crazy destructive scene. Spot on, the guy realizes he hit the exact weak point he needed to. He charges at the big guy, going all all out, cutting the silence with a lightning-fast dive. The dude freezes on the spot, eyes popping out of his head from the sheer weight of the situation. Landing a brutal strike, he hits the target dead on, showing zero mercy. Walls crumble instantly, with the pressure completely destroying everything around. Even battered and gasping for air, the big guy had to admit the kid did incredibly well. Flashing a mocking smirk, the monster clowns the main character, roasting the flawed plan he just followed. Riley, on the other hand, would have reacted in a heartbeat, saving everyone with a lightspeed dodge. Hearing a noise from far away, he knows instantly his partner is handling the fight alone. The hit is so violent it makes the whole environment shake to its core. Blinded by hate, the guy tenses every muscle in his body to jump into the clash. The villain bursts into laughter, making fun of that silly mistake the protagonist made for a second. Now, he cuts him some slack and tells the opponent to say his last words before kicking the bucket. Clueless about what was happening, the ground vanished beneath his feet when the mystery hit head-on. He finds it weird that he didn't catch a massive punch to the face right away. With that mocking smirk, the opponent drops some trash talk, asking if he just stopped to take a break. Shooting a disdainful look, he taunts the kid, asking if he still has the guts to show off that same power. He catches on to the fake act instantly, keeping it real that the guy is just an empty shell. Drawing out whatever power the guy had left, he wonders, has Kree been capping this whole time? Even as a rookie, the girl gives off a ridiculous pressure that leaves anyone feeling cornered. Fear hits hard, and the guy can't even hide it, feeling that chill run up his spine. But even knowing who she is, the level she reached leaves absolutely everyone's jaw on the floor. No hesitation, she goes all out and yells Riley's name, proving she's dead serious and owning her hero duty. Among all those people, his eyes locked onto the only girl radiating a truly different energy. His reaction doesn't lie. It's obvious the situation is legit and there's nothing fake about it. With her eyes glowing at an insane level, she backs the guy into a corner and exposes his disguise. That being gives off a creepy vibe, staring everyone down with a cold, empty look. Impressed by the girl's guts, he decides to come clean and keeps it real right then and there. Realizing his energy is completely drained, he admits he needs a breather to recharge his batteries. The giant beast crashes to the ground with full force, making the whole terrain shake like crazy. Now the monster warns that he's at his peak and the fight ends right here and now. Because, at the end of the day, keeping a cool head is what separates the rookies from the pros when things get serious. With his usual mockery, he speaks his mind and roasts anyone who hasn't figured out the scam yet. Pointing the blade right at the fool's face, he warns he's going to shut down that arrogance with pure force. He saw it as a simple deal, absolutely no more surprises could pop up to ruin the plan. With a gleam in his eye, the kid delivers a fast and precise strike, leaving absolutely zero room for error. His partner points at the target, which looks exactly like the first, and drops a compliment on their cracked teamwork. When the guy suggests he should tap out, Tara is left in shock and can't even believe what she just heard. He keeps it real, explaining that this whole thing was just a training session to get them both sharpened up. Acknowledging the crew's effort, he tells them straight up to stop throwing demon lives away for absolutely nothing. He lets out an exhausted sigh and takes a breather to process the actual weight this whole mess carries. With a scowl, he lays down the law so nobody tries any funny business or pulls a fast one along the way. Ultimately, the top priority is respecting her wishes no matter what. He hits the gas with everything he's got and tears through the ground at light speed. Riley actually appreciates the backup but quickly tells the guy to let go already. Demanding to be released immediately, he cuts through that heavy vibe with some straight talk. But deep down, Riley realizes there is something seriously wrong going on with his own body. The guy loses his patience, starts cursing everyone out, and looks at the crew like they're just a bunch of bugs. Realizing he said way too much, heavy regret hits him for opening his mouth around Riley. Troy is right on his tail and the MC desperately needs a second wind like yesterday. Upon seeing the mistake, the opponent freezes on the spot, realizing the massive scale of his screw-up. Piecing it all together, he finally realizes that this is the absolute key to everything. The opponent freezes up, realizing he has zero gas left to counter this charge. He grips the hilt super tight and readies the strike that's gonna settle this for good. This fool feels the brunt of the hit instantly and locks up, completely dazed by the impact. Dodging with pure skill, the MC slides right across the ground. By a hair he makes it out, finally realizing who holds this ridiculous power. Ultimately, Crod was pulling all the strings and manipulating the board from the very beginning. Annoyed by the clown show, he speaks his mind and demands absolute focus right now. Keeping it real about the danger, the opponent drops an ultimatum for him to bounce while there's still time. Without caring about the cheap talk, he drops the truth, saying the guy is just scared of losing his spot. That's exactly why he lets his rival live, just to drop this massive bomb right in his face. Recognizing the kid's potential, the guy tries to talk him out of throwing his life away right there. Crad flashes that psycho smile and lets out a laugh packed with pure mockery. Lost in that endless void, he starts freaking out, wondering if anyone is out there watching his struggle. But, feeling a quick spark of joy from that, he ends up realizing there's a heavy sadness hidden deep down. An insane energy blast completely wipes out everything in the area. He clenches his fist with full force and a creepy light swallows absolutely everything around. Cutting the fool's chatter instantly, he keeps it real. This judgment isn't stopping no matter what. Honestly, all he really wants is for that guy to acknowledge him. Nothing else matters. The beast unleashes an aura so heavy it shakes everything, flexing that he's the literal personification of the earth. He lets out a dry cough and complains, super annoyed for slipping up so bad in a brawl. Catching on to the plan, he stayed straight up that the girl is still out of auctions. Noticing the way the guy spoke, he instantly drops the question, is that dude really the commander? The guy is sweating bullets, but quickly confirms his identity while touching the bracelet that's glowing like a beacon. Looking up at the sky, that endless blue brings total silence to the moment. With a relieved smile, he finally gets that not getting back up wasn't a screw-up at all. Heavy regret hits him and he instantly wonders what kind of insanity crossed his mind to ask for something like that. The vibe gets heavy instantly and despair hits hard when the comm signal drops for good. Suddenly, Troy screams calling out for him and the kid freezes on the spot, running cold from pure fear. She flips the switch, stands tall with determination, and keeps it real. There's a way to fix this mess. Rage boils over the second the signal drops out of nowhere, without even a warning. Without a single clue and his heart in his throat, the guy just blurts out what's actually going on. Shaking in his boots, the guy wonders if the Shadow's sovereign himself is right on his tail. He lets out that frustrated sigh, wishing he had been heard before time ran out. But, thinking about the brawl, there's no way around it. Those guys are taking the win no matter what. With an evil smile on his face, he clowns Terra's absolute despair. Check out this scene. The angle is so wide that everything looks tiny, almost losing the whole sense of scale. The camera zooms way out to show the entire scenery, giving that ridiculous and insane scale to the place. From the ground spawns an insane stone giant, looking like the true force of nature coming to life. It's possessed by pure hate and swears to wipe everyone off the map, showing zero mercy. Gritting his teeth, he faces head-on that destiny he was trying to dodge at all costs. But he knows there's no way he can let this ugly beast get anywhere near the village. Time has come to put the plan into action and go all out for the final phase. Now his senses are fully dialed in, catching every single thing that used to slip by. It turns out Terra isn't just a meathead, he got a serious upgrade and is proving he's got way more than raw strength. Pushing her earth control to a whole new level, she pulls a stone hurricane right down on everyone. Except he doesn't even blink at the danger and charges in without a second thought. Focusing on those glowing eyes, he realizes instantly who was the first to show up on the scene. Without batting an eye, the crew faces the giant head-on, not even shaking in their boots. Effortlessly, he drops the command straight up to lock the fool down for good. The beast charges with everything, starving and flashing those sharp fangs right at him. This guy has the audacity to say that after wrecking everything, it's the absolute peak of mockery. Shaking from the heavy impact, the place kicks up so much dust you can't see a single thing. He launches himself like a rocket, tearing through the air straight toward the beast. Raw energy explodes out of nowhere, shattering the silence with a ridiculous level of aggression. That blinding flash gives away that there's something massive and creepy hiding in there. Not even blinking, the kid faces the danger head-on with a look that says he's dead serious. With that usual mockery, the guy tells him to call for backup if he doesn't want to get bodied again. Suddenly, a creepy doubt hits his mind, wondering if the creature actually has what it takes to get the job done. Scanning the scenery, he realizes Troy is nothing but a throwaway piece in this game. He immediately asks if his partner has any real clue where the beast's weak point is. Stepping up to hold the line, he searches for a weak spot to wrap this job up. The whole thing hits like a reality check that leaves the kid completely speechless. With the whole terrain in the palm of her hand, she doesn't even stress and just keeps flexing her arrogance. But when the tables turn, her arrogance vanishes instantly and the despair hits hard. Reality sets in that the villain is just a total nobody and frustration hits like a truck. Ultimately, thinking you're gonna win just off a lucky strike is straight up asking to get packed up. Paralyzing everything, fear takes over while doubt creeps in. Did the giant actually wipe out everyone? The beast is so chill it doesn't even care about its own soldiers, treating them like throwaways. To everyone else, Troy is just some random guy and absolute nobody. She shoots Troy a look of absolute confidence, putting all her faith in him. Shifting all the focus onto the beast, the plan officially goes into motion. Massive tentacles surround the kid from every angle, making him let out a scream of pure despair. The impact hits dead on, sending the kid flying with ridiculous force. Completely losing his mind, the kid lets out a yell to grab everyone's attention. Analyzing the scenery, the monster lets out a mocking laugh, clowning how blind everyone there is. With the target locked, the beast decides it's going to pack Riley up first. She thinks the kid is weak, but she's going to pay a heavy price for underestimating him. The beast locks its yellow eyes on the boy, staring him down with a disgust that gives you chills. That strike cuts through the air with everything, unleashing a creepy flash that destroys whatever is in its path. Honestly, he had never in his entire life felt a fear as bizarre as that one. Hanging in the air is that heavy doubt, with everyone wondering if this crack power was kept locked away this whole time. Yeah, looks like all this chaos was part of their master plan from the very beginning. A heavy strike slices through the air, creating a ridiculous pressure that makes the ground shake completely. It was only after taking 2 of those punches that she finally realized the actual danger. Obviously, this fool just wants to completely throw off your focus. Tired of stalling, the guy's secret power finally bursts out all at once. But is he really gonna fall for the guy's talk and drop his guard? Since Crad already called it, there's no going back. The fight is over right here. The guy freezes instantly, and his desperate face gives away that he realized the screw-up he made. Except the kid freezes, having no clue why he has to choose between Troy and Riley. Taking a deep breath to clear her head, she figures out what her next move is gonna be. Right after finishing the job, she dumps an impossible choice right into the hero's hands. She lashes out at Riley, standing her ground that she won't let him destroy everything no matter what. A bizarre darkness starts rising, swallowing everything and wiping the map with massive fury. Blades tear through the air in an insane strike that absolutely nobody can stop. In the blink of an eye, the guy charges at that shadow, going all out. Fully locked in, the fool decides to speak up and unleash his full power without holding back. A spiral of destructive energy tears through the sky with full force. The thing spins into an insane golden vortex, scattering sparks of raw power everywhere. Panting from exhaustion, the kid can't even believe he barely made it out of that one. When he realizes what's going down around him, his blood runs cold seeing the danger right in front of his face. The monster lets out an unbearable scream of pain, feeling the full damage of the attack on its skin. Instantly, the explosion's impact hits the pillar dead on, making the whole scenery shake from the force of the strike. He orders the beast to devour the opponent at once, wanting to put a final end to this brawl right now. Out of nowhere, a giant tail spawns, tightening the grip and crushing the enemy with pure rage. Looking at her plan, completely wrecking Troy's mind, he sees her using the guy's own duties right against him. That robot keeps it real, admitting he's a coward, but swears up and down he gave it his absolute best. With the impact of the hit, the robot staggers and starts wondering if Riley is actually as cracked as they say. She gets paranoid, asking if he really wants to scar the guy's face for good. The situation spins totally out of control and the robot completely freaks out, losing its mind. Furious with the disrespect, she doesn't let it slide and immediately claps back with some straight talk. Spinning the ink dagger, she pokes at him, asking if that thing is bothering him. Suddenly, the kid turns to his partner, wanting to know what the deal is with teaching something so complicated. This kid lets out a deafening scream and completely loses his grip on reality. Then he complains that he almost got packed up and lost an eye in this whole mess. She drops that basic mockery, telling him to try and copy Riley's feat next time. With a little smirk, she keeps it real and says the whole thing is way less complicated than he thinks. Both of them slip into autopilot, acting before even processing a single thought. Frowning hard, she steps into a tense vibe and connects her nervous system right into the chi flow. Without understanding a thing, she tries to jog her memory for any spark of what went down. Laughing it off, she blurts out that she highly doubts Riley would let any detail slip with that eagle eye of his. Completely cornered, she freezes instantly from the heavy pressure coming from all sides. Riley lets out a smirk, just watching the kid make every single move. The kid's jaw drops to the floor when he sees what she's actually capable of, but this crazy reflex had absolutely nothing to do with the guy's chi control. He spins his body super fast, already locked onto what's coming right at him. With that smile on her face, she gives off a mission accomplished vibe for finally figuring out the boy's deal. Staring with eyes wide in pure terror, the girl freezes on the spot when she sees the weapon pointed right at her face. He pulls the item and realizes instantly he's holding an absolute gold mine. Dropping a another giant stone on the village is the best idea he's had so far. The monster demands that the MC pays him back in the exact same coin. With her eye glowing, she steps up to the guy and asks why he doesn't even care about anything. Heavy and creepy energy starts building up, casting a sinister flash over the scene. Not caring at all about Tara's struggle, the kid goes crazy and charges the danger without looking back. Locked onto the glow, the kid finally figures out where the answer was hiding this whole time. With a straight and threatening tone, the creature warns that playtime is over and things just got serious. Fearlessly, the guy delivers the hit dead on with all the conviction in the world. In a split second, he flexes his power and swaps places in the blink of an eye. The guy's scream cuts through the air, making it obvious he's incredibly relieved to have dodged that. Even with him charging full force, the girl dodges on pure talent and escapes by a hair. This girl didn't slack, tanked Troy's pressure, and stayed locked onto Riley's every move. Coming face to face with that bizarre scene, fear hits hard and the fool can't hide his panic. Suddenly, sweat starts dripping and the guy completely freezes, unable to move a muscle from sheer terror. And the blade starts vibrating, giving off a battle aura you can feel from a mile away. Without giving any breathing room with his attacks, Troy goes crazy and charges in, going all out. The deadly glow of Riley's aura creeps closer, bringing a vibe of absolute danger. Keeping her posture, she keeps it real. She didn't miss a thing. She was in control the whole time. Out of nowhere, a giant shadow finally finds the glow it was looking for. He drops the truth about that heart with an icy voice that actually gives you chills. Two dark eyes lock a sinister gaze on the target, making absolutely anyone freeze up. The scream of despair cuts through the air, ordering her to stop everything right away. Those massive claws come tearing through everything, going straight for Riley with zero mercy. In a swift move, she escapes by a hair while screaming a desperate warning. Refusing to accept this ridiculous end, he gathers whatever strength is left in his body. A crack echoes and the monster's face twists, showing off an uncontrollable rage. Paralyzed by fear, she looks straight at the beast, who is already ordering to end the clown show for good. But in the middle of all that chaos, she tells Riley to stop being stubborn and drop the fight. With a mocking smile, the monster starts clowning the guy's weakness. Completely speechless, she grinds her teeth in anger for not having enough strength to shatter that crystal. The gem lets out a ridiculous glow, stuck right in the middle of all that wrecked stone. He doesn't miss the chance to roast him, mocking how the kid just can't take it anymore. Ending this beef is the only thing that matters to him right now. With his eyes wide open, he doesn't look away from that giant mountain out on the horizon. He loses his mind, trying not to believe what just went down right there. Riley is left in total shock by that madness, unable to process what's happening right in front of him. Thankfully, that crazy dude trained like an absolute beast, using only one arm. After blowing all her energy on the last strike, she was left completely defenseless. Looking at the crystal, the guy mentally gives thanks that his life was saved by Riley. Riley clenches his fist with full force and goes all out on the final strike. He lets out a yell, refusing to accept that it's the end of the line for him. The doubt hits hard and he starts wondering if that whole thing was just a massive scam. Behind that blank stare, a creepy doubt starts eating away at what he thinks he knows about himself. This beast doesn't miss the chance to flex, laughing in his face over such a lame name. Cornered with nowhere to run, the guy throws in the towel and apologizes, admitting he took a massive L. Keeping that usual mockery, he decides to play along just to wrap the whole thing up fast. Demanding to see some real effort, he forces his opponent to prove his worth right now. The Demon King's first trial finally wraps up with an outcome that blows everything away. When the crew finally figures out what Tara had to sacrifice, everyone is left in shock, and nobody can believe it. Breaking past the limit, the duo officially proves they absolutely killed it in that fight. After sending the demon packing, Riley and Troy take a breather to patch up those wounds. At the end of the day, there's no secret. Resting is the only way anyone can bounce back for real. Since Troy took a serious beating, it's gonna be a good while before he's back at 100%. Feeling a bit better, she completely shifts gears and goes straight back to the grind. Blinded by rage, the one-eyed monster charges forward, going all out against its target. Fear hits hard, and a danger warning starts ringing non-stop inside his head. Out of nowhere, a creepy flash explodes in the air, and they gotta dip ASAP if they want to stay alive. Totally lost, the monsters just stare at each other, having zero clue what just happened. In pure despair, the little beast sprints off to warn the boss that the hero is in the area. Completely losing its mind, the creature lets out an ear-piercing scream of pure hate. Floating around there, they're just waiting for the perfect moment to go completely crazy. The one-eyed monster freezes in shock, yelling that everyone needs to bounce like yesterday. Having absolutely zero clue what's going down, the Cyclops drops a completely random question. Even so, she tells everyone to pick up the pace because meeting up with him just can't wait. Missing Troy hits her hard and she ends up spacing out completely, forgetting all about the mission, showing up with a massive grin. Harkin has to respect the absolute cracked feat the MC just pulled off. Staying super humble, the guy makes sure to thank everyone for backing him up, but his partner doesn't let it slide and keeps it real, claiming she's the one who wiped the floor with all those trolls. Still paranoid, the guy really doubts anyone there can actually handle those trolls. The kid just isn't buying it, dropping facts that this mindset is completely wrong. Flashing a cynical smile, he lays it out and asks if the crew even realizes the massive trouble they're in. He keeps pressing that there's no way she can pretend she didn't see the fix to this huge mess. Feeling kinda sketchy about it, he drops the heavy question asking if Riley is actually gonna solve this. The dude just freezes, trying to process what he just heard while looking completely lost. And that's where it clicks. That place was actually their secret hideout. The only option left is to nip this evil in the bud right now. But the boss cuts the chatter and shifts gears. Now it's all about figuring out the squad's power level. Pointing it out, he warns that these beasts are way smarter than anyone thought. Result is, fighting these monsters head-on turned into a nearly impossible mission. But any little spark of light triggers those beasts to charge and showing absolutely no mercy. He didn't even have a chance to speak, getting shut down and told to keep his mouth shut instantly. Things get incredibly heavy when they realize the villain showed up way earlier than expected. That intense flash immediately gave away the crew's spot, and they wasted no time charging in. Thanks to that, the wave of trolls showing up around there slowed down big time. Now the boss is demanding max brightness to clear everything up once and for all. Scared to death, the guy just wants them to turn on the light already so he can see where he's going. Deep down, the kid is already plotting to dip if things go south, ready to handle it solo. Convincing himself he's safe is just his way of hiding that he's terrified inside. Out of nowhere, a massive beast slams a heavy hammer right down on the squad. Shaking like a leaf, the guy is absolutely sure his time is finally up. A bright blue aura shines and lays down the law. They both just got slapped with a subjugation order. The beast's face gives it away. It's in total shock, and pure despair has officially taken over. An insane crash shatters the silence, blowing everything to pieces with sinister violence. It makes total sense since this girl has survived every crazy situation you could possibly imagine. Paralyzed on the spot, the creature feels an absurd pressure locking up every fiber of its body. To her, these monsters are just some random roadblock that doesn't even make her break a sweat. Completely ignoring the screams for help, the guy keeps a blank face, living in his own world. Mostly because it was the kid himself who insisted on facing reality head-on. Eyes wide open, he's left wondering how on earth things ended up finishing like that. Sticking to the plan, he unleashes an insane flash that completely sweeps the area. But shocking everyone, the beasts freeze entirely the second that light hits them. The big boss drops straight to the ground, knocked out cold by a single surgical strike. Everything went sideways at the worst time and the system just completely glitched out. Losing their minds instantly, the monsters start shaking like leaves seeing what's coming their way. Flashing that death stare, he keeps it real. Playtime is officially over. Hitting full shock, the kid starts freaking out and can't even put a single coherent sentence together. Totally lost in the sauce, the guy makes a weird sound and wonders, did he reincarnate into a troll? Night finally falls and the only thing shining up there are the stars. Realizing Riley totally saved everyone's skin, the crew doesn't hold back on the thanks and hypes the guy up. If it weren't for that quick vision flash, there's no way the plan would have actually worked. Even with nothing set in stone, the problem might get solved way sooner than expected. Getting paranoid, she starts wondering if any of this actually makes sense. With that promise, he tells our MC to just chill and take a nap without stressing at all. Keeping it real, she truly thanks the guy for all the hard work he put in today. Letting out a heavy sigh of relief, she finally lets it go and drops her shoulders completely. Riley finally celebrates, managing to reach that goal she wanted so badly. Stretching out on the bed, she immediately wonders where in the world Troy went. The phone buzzes and the girl freezes instantly, having zero clue what to think. That sudden glow leaves the girl completely static and kills her peace right on the spot. Out of nowhere, some creepy noises start echoing for the building under that starry sky. Grabbing the call, the kid immediately drops a, "Wait, did I just wake Riley up?" Totally dizzy and turning red, she tries to hide her embarrassment while asking who's on the line. Flashing an awkward smile, the guy dodges the question and claims he's just asking out of curiosity. Super awkward. She admits that the whole thing actually means a lot to her. Checking the schedule, he notices her return is locked in for Tuesday. The news makes him freeze on the spot, unable to understand how those guys moved so fast. Blushing hard, she drops the she couldn't wait any longer and rushed just to see him ASAP. Right then she ruins his vibe and orders him not to back out or hang up the phone. He freezes completely, wondering if he just felt the creepy vibe coming from the other side. Keeping Troy busy for 30 straight minutes, he uses pure smooth talking and strategy. Dead tired, she lets out a heavy sigh after pushing herself to the absolute limit. Dying of embarrassment, she regrets talking too much and ends up giving the whole game away. Staring up at the ceiling, the guy lets out a tired sigh and completely zones out. The guy's voice is still hammering in her mind, leaving this warm and cozy feeling in her chest. Even with her doubts screaming loud, her heart races just thinking this might actually be real. She freezes up and stutters all over, terrified that she was just being a bother. Staying incredibly humble, the boy says thanks, feeling super bad for bugging her so late. Guilt hits her hard for getting her hopes up, making it impossible to believe he's actually being real with her. Freezing for a second, she takes a deep breath and gathers the courage to spit it out once and for all. Giving her a gentle push, he tells her to drop the shy act and just spill it already. Heart pounding out of her chest, she calls his name, desperate to strike up a chat and break the ice. Looking at the paper, she goes into total shock with a face like she just saw a ghost. Having zero clue what to say, she completely locks up and turns as red as a tomato. Eyes wide open in pure terror, she tries to process that massive bomb that just dropped. Grabbing the gift all happy, she says thanks with a sparkle in her eye that says it all. The guy glitches out completely, trying to digest the shock of what he just heard. Thinking back to the master's advice, he realizes the actual danger that comes with being a hero. Feeling suspicious, she asks if the little girl was the one who crossed out the name on the back of the drawing. No one saw that coming. She freezes with her eyes wide, completely in shock from the bombshell that just dropped. Hearing the compliment, she gets that classic freeze, totally lost between being embarrassed and confused. Clasping her hands together, she starts laying down the rules on how to act in that kind of situation. Flashing a tiny smile, she thanks him for the gift and promises she'll take super good care of it. Flashing back, he remembers the master saying everyone's life energy has its own unique color. With a heavy heart, she keeps it real, swearing she'll do whatever it takes to protect that unique glow. Tearing up, she decides it's finally time to step up and connect those two worlds for good.